What's going on, Jets fans? Welcome to Jets Today, episode 47, and we got a familiar face on the show. Maybe you've never seen this face before, right? Like, nobody knows who you are, I don't think. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. It's good to have you, man. Ian from Jet Central has joined us tonight, guys. Ian, how you feeling, man?
I'm good. I'm good. I hope you guys can see me and hear me okay. I might be a little laggy. My camera's kind of running into a couple problems here. But no, man, I'm doing well. How about you? I appreciate you having me on too, by the way.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, it's awesome. I reached out to you. I saw that Jake Asman had you on, and I'd had Jake on a couple of months ago, and I was like, let me just go for it. Let me get somebody on here. And then after I got you, I was like, I'm just gonna reach out to everybody, and so I'm gonna have a bunch of people coming on. It's just really cool, getting different people's perspective. That's what it's all about. So really, really cool to have you. And let's not waste any time. I've got a bunch of topics. I've got a bunch of mailbags. People are already loading up the comments. And guys, if you're here, hope you guys are excited. Throw as many questions as you can in there, and I will get it to them as fast as I can. We've Thomas Cahill with the positivity, which is probably needed for all of us right now. Plenty of excellent receivers in the draft. No panic. So let's talk about it. I have it already on the screen. Tyreek Hill news. Jack Gaming 317. He says I hate him, and I think it's fair, man. I'm just so salty about the fact that not that Joe Douglas missed on it, because I don't really pin this one on Joe Douglas, but all in all, it just really sucks that we missed to get this guy because he's an absolute stud, obviously, and then he ends up with the Dolphins. So let me hear what you're thinking, just on the fact that he's not a Jet, but he's a Dolphin.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was definitely tough. Kind of a gut punch, I felt like, for a lot of Jets fans. Like, just because it came like in the middle of the afternoon, everything materialized really, really quickly. Like I'm sure you were following it, right? News broke like 15 minutes before he actually got traded, right? Or maybe like an hour and 15 minutes. It was like, oh, the Chiefs could part ways with him. What's going to happen? He's not accepting the extension. And then all of a sudden, Schefter just dropped the bomb. Jets and Dolphins, like, what's going on? Like, this is crazy. I remember I was showering. I like looked at, like, I saw a bunch of Twitter notifications on my phone, like, as I was in the shower. I'm like, it's probably no big deal. I get out and I look, it's just like Jets are like in huge trade talks with Tyreek Hill. I'm like, what the heck? Like, how did this even happen? But no, I mean, it's a tough pill to swallow, especially considering that not only he's a Miami Dolphin now, but the fact that the Chiefs accepted the Jets offer, and it really came down to
Yes.
Tyreek's decision. And it was like, we were that close. We were this close from getting a top 5 wide receiver. And now he's going to be playing with a rival. So tough.
It's extremely tough. And as we sit here right now, I know we all feel really good about Bryce Hall. I know we feel good about some of the defensive players that we have on our side. We got Jordan Whitehead in the mix, DJ Reed, of course. Do we have somebody that can one-on-one him, and to also add to the fire here? We've got Jalen Waddle on the other side. So I mean, there should be some concerns, but any concerns on how we match up on them right now, just off the bat?
As far as like getting beat over the top, not really. Just because it's like a scheme kind. I don't want to say it's a given because we were the 32nd ranked defense in football last year, but
Yes.
this one of the schemes bullet points, one of the positives is to not get beat over the top, keep everything in front of you. So I think from that aspect, it's we're in pretty good shape. But I think when you start thinking about Waddle with the football in his hands, with Tyreek catching easy screens and slants, where he could just break through like right up the middle. Tua has a really quick release. He gets the ball out super, super fast.
He
So
does.
that's really where I'm more concerned.
Absolutely. Good stuff. And I didn't even think about that. The bend don't break kind of, structure of the defense. I think that's a fair point to make. All right, so we'll move along because he is not a New York Jet. And he never will be. He is a Miami Dolphin, and so screw that guy, I say. Let's go to the first mailbag here. And this is from Christopher. He submitted it just a few hours ago, actually. And funny enough, I was also, and weirdo, behavior for me, I actually have my phone in the shower as well, and I pay attention to it. But he sent me this, and he says, what are the positives that we didn't end up with Tyreek Hill? Just an FYI, I wanted them, or excuse me, I wanted him but maybe there's a silver lining in this. Your thoughts? I'll let you go first. What do you think? Any silver lining here with not landing him?
Yeah, I mean, great question, first and foremost. I think, you know, yes, it sucks that we lost or we missed out on Tyreek Hill, but I think we're in the same position that we were in, this morning, which is the fact that we have 2 top 10 draft picks. We still have 2 second round picks, 2 fours, a high 3. And now we're in a position where we're not, fully guaranteeing a contract to a guy and stuff like that. Like, of course, like that's what the money is there to do, to sign these awesome players. But,
Yep.
in turn, if you don't land a Tyreek Hill, you still have an abundance of draft picks. You still have a ton of cap space available to now pivot it and use that somewhere else. I think this is a Jets team that has a lot of holes even after free agency. And, as much as I like Tyreek Hill and everything like that, and I don't want to create the narrative that the Jets are better off without him, but, it is kind of a relief that we're keeping all of these picks here. So,
Yep. I think it's completely fair to say that the picks and the cap flexibility. I mean, he is going to be making a boatload, over 30 million, right? Like I think that's the contract annually. He's going to be 30 mil. So there's still the flexibility that Joe Douglas can strike at any time. We don't know. And here's the thing, like, and somebody made this comment on Twitter to me, and I thought it was a good point. We didn't know that Tyreek Hill was even available until, like you said, around noontime this afternoon. So who's to say that somebody else doesn't come available? And, who's to say that this even pans out for the Miami Dolphins? Injuries can happen. Tua it might not work. They might not click. A lot of people saw the Odell Beckham move that the Cleveland Browns made as like, holy cow, they're going to explode on offense. And it never really worked out. So you just never know, I would say. So,
yeah, that's a really, really good point with OBJ. I didn't even think of that. But the one thing I do want to throw in there,
mhm.
I've been seeing a lot of stuff like, oh, Tua can't throw him the deep ball, and there's like a lot of people kind of hating on Tua and whatnot. Um, this is a team that also added Teddy Bridgewater, a veteran quarterback. He's seen a lot of different defenses. Play with a ton of different wide receivers. So if Tua is struggling, if he's struggling to get him the football, I could see Mike McDaniel pulling the plug, maybe midway through the season, throwing Bridgewater in there, and all of a sudden you got a veteran back there. So just it's a tough situation.
It's an interesting point. They are not devoid of a backup. Teddy Bridgewater is a proven veteran, and I think that could actually, that could be pretty good too. Having him in the mix there and having some competition at quarterback could certainly work out. Guys, thank you again so much. And I just want to throw out there, and I didn't mention it earlier at the top of the show, all of Ian's information is in the description. His YouTube channel's linked, his Twitter, his Instagram. Check all that stuff out. And again, I'm sure that you guys have seen his channel before, but if you by chance have not, get with it and go check out his content. Let's
I
keep it.
appreciate it, man. I
Oh, of
really do.
course.
I just want to say thanks for allowing me to hop on. It's a blast. I don't really do many live streams, and
Yes.
technical reasons are obviously one of the reasons why I don't. But no, I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's go to this comment right here, and then we'll go back to the mailbag. It's from Raw Power. Thank you, Raw Power. He says, "Ask me this: who our number one offensive weapon is? Can't say Moore or Carter, as they need to prove that they can stay on the field." So I guess what he's saying is we don't have that proven number one. What are your expectations for Elijah Moore? Let's stick with him since he's a wide receiver. I have very high expectations. So what are your expectations?
Yeah, I mean, you take a look at what he did back at Ole Miss, and you look at his skill set. You look at how he ended the season last year. The chemistry with Zach Wilson. It seemed like Mike LaFleur really started to figure out where to put Elijah Moore in the back half of the year. Preferably, I would rather see more lineup, like no pun intended here, more in the slot, as opposed to the outside. I'm not saying he can't win outside, but
Mm-hmm.
I think I think it's a really, and it sounds weird saying underrated because it's not underrated, but I feel like it's a little overlooked, right? The damage that this guy can do underneath, just on simple crossers, 8-yard pickups. Zach Wilson literally can throw the football less than 5 yards through the air, and he can take that 20, 30, 40 yards. Like, he has the speed and agility to do that. But I personally, I don't feel comfortable with Corey Davis as the number one. I think the number one target is not on the team yet. I think we're going to land that guy in the draft.
Yes, and there is a segment. Well, I think there's somebody that made a mailbag for that specifically, and I love what you said about, excuse me, the underneath stuff. That's what a lot. I know that everybody looks at Tyreek Hill and they talk about, oh, he's like, he's going downfield. Mahomes is just uncorking balls and launching them deep, and of course they did that. But they also did a lot of those drag concepts as well. They were using some of those plays where they're just running simple concepts, getting the ball in space in their hands and allowing them to make plays. So absolutely, and definitely Elijah Moore should no doubt be getting the ball. They should be getting the ball in his hands as many times as they can. I really do feel like he is special. We do have a super chat. We'll go to that first, and then we'll go to the mailbag. Mitch, thank you very much for the super chat. And he says, great show as always. With the Hill trade and the Bills signing Von Miller, the East got way better. Do you see the Jets finishing fourth, or can they improve? And actually, there's a mailbag specifically about that one. Right now, the odds on favorite, and I'll just put that up on the screen real quick. I'm overwhelming our screen here. He says, the mailbag shows that we are the second highest against odds to win our division. So plus 2,000, and I think that the Texans are 2,600. So with those moves in the AFC East, Tyreek Hill to the Dolphins, Von Miller, what are you thinking?
So I actually agree with both. I think the Jets will finish in fourth place, but at the same time, I think we will get a lot better. I'm assuming we get a lot better. If we finish with under 4 wins next season, there's going to be some problems. Because like we cannot keep coming in fourth place. We cannot keep, losing and finishing bottom five every single year. I mean, it's not only just draining for the fans, but it's like it really makes you scratch your head at the front office because we've had the teams that we all kind of grew up with a little bit, and I'm not sure how old you are. I'm 26, so for me it was always Buffalo was always bottom of the barrel, Cleveland bottom of the barrel, Detroit, and Cleveland. I mean, that's like a playoff team. Buffalo's a consistent playoff team from here on out. So things can change, and it's tough to see I mean, it's not, I don't want to say it's, how should I word it? I guess it's realistic to say that the Jets will be in fourth place of the AFC East just because of how good the competition is going to be, but we better get better. I mean, that's the bottom line for me. Like, we cannot finish with 4 wins or under. Like, I'm expecting at least 6 to 7, and that's a pretty low bar.
I am 100% with you. And I do think that it's fair to say and realistic to say without the green shades covering our eyes, how can you sit here and say we're going to be ahead of those other teams in the AFC East? I don't think you can realistically. It just doesn't make sense. The talent deficit is certainly there. And those players are no joke. I mean, Von Miller is a Hall of Fame level edge player in the NFL. Tyreek Hill, like you said earlier, top 5 talent at the wide receiver position in the National Football League. Those things matter. And right now, the New York Jets, with all of the players that we have that have a ton of talent and a lot of potential, we don't really have anybody in that upper echelon as of right now. We have guys that we really feel good about, but nobody in that stratosphere. So good stuff. We got another super chat here from Thomas Cahill. Thank you very much, Thomas, for the super chat and the support. Really means a lot. He says, it seems to me that Coach Saleh had some input here. He wants to go defense in round 1. Therefore, no picks for KC. So, and I'm sure you know this already. By the way, guys, thank you guys so much for all the people who are subscribing. Really means a lot. The Jets were going to, if Tyreek Hill had chosen the Jets, or if he had choose to go to the New York Jets, we were still going to have number 4 overall and number 10 overall. So I guess what you're trying to say here, Thomas, is there's probably an emphasis to go defense heavy. And I'll be honest with you, I've started to come around to the idea of maybe going defense heavy in this draft might be the way to go. And it's not just a reflection of the Tyreek Hill move. What say you, Ian, on? And it's hard to say because we don't know who's going to be available at those picks. But as of right now, how are you leaning?
So I mean, I'm kind of a defensive. Oh,
Sorry
I
about
actually
that.
don't know what happened here.
Nope, that's not you. That's
Um,
that's totally me.
oh,
Oh
so I don't
Lord.
know if there we go.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, it's all good. So I think honestly, I mean, I'm kind of a big fan of defense, and I would prefer the Jets to actually go defense early, specifically edge at spot number 4.
Mhm.
But I think the Jets should really target guys that fit the scheme, and that are high on the big board overall, as opposed to pigeonholing ourselves and saying, you know what, we have to draft defense. So even though we like this wide receiver, we like this tackle more than this defensive player, we just have to go with defense. So we're going to select him. And I would actually push back a little bit and say, because the Jets didn't land Tyreek Hill, maybe that handcuffs Joe Douglas into taking a wide receiver at spot number 10, because we couldn't land Amari Cooper. He was dealt for minimal return. We couldn't land Robert Woods. Devontae Adams got moved. Tyreek Hill got moved. All of the free agents got picked up pretty quickly, like guys like Michael Gallup and Christian Kirk and Allen Robinson. I mean, uh, is Jarvis Landry going to be coming in? Like, it's kind of one of those situations where it's like, you know, is it edge and wide receiver one? And if that's the case, what's happening with cornerback one? Or if we go cornerback and edge, what's happening with wide receiver one? It's like you have three, but you can only pick two. And if you in that third one that doesn't get picked, huge everywhere. Unless you want to target like a Derek Barnett or something like that, but that's not a definite answer. That's kind of a toss up. So a lot to think about here.
Definitely. And the conundrum of what are you going to do at 4 and 10 is dicey, but it's important to realize that we do have many picks and there's still no reason to give out hope on another transaction here. We just don't know who's available. Let's go to Edward Ziff. And thank you very much for that super chat. Really means a lot. Thank you, sir. He says lots of quality edge rushers and receivers this year. Number 4, we have Sauce Gardner potentially. Number 10, we could take an edge, and there's a number of them, I think, personally. Receiver at 35. Tight end at 39. I don't know, and it's actually 38, but I don't know if that's actually going to be in the cards. And I think they will draft a tight end, and it could be as early as the 3rd round, but I don't know if they'll go tight end in round 2. But having said that, you said linebacker, and I'm definitely with that as well. And this makes the most sense. What do you think about tight end in the draft? I'll kind of talk about that for Edward.
Yeah, I still think we got to get at least one more body in.
Mm-hmm.
I look at CJ Uzama. As much as I do like him, as much as I do think he'll be a threat in the red zone, a threat on third and short, he's not the quickest on his feet. He is kind of a big bruising type of tight end. And of course, he is on that multi-year contract. And I'm a big fan of Conklin. But again, I want the Jets to trust their board here. And if we have, Jeremy Ruckert rated in the 3rd round and he is on the board in the 4th round, and, he fits the offense and the offense feels good about him moving forward, maybe, could spend a little time on the bench, then that's what I want to do. I think another underrated aspect of this team, or what I hope that this team does or accomplishes this offseason, is adding depth. We saw Carl Lawson go down with an injury, and it's like, well, there's the edge production is just tanked.
Yep.
Marcus May, Lamarcus Joyner go down, safety production tanks. Like everybody's missing time. Zach Wilson, Elijah Moore, Corey Davis was out for the year. Mekhi Becton was out for the year. Personally, I feel like we need to have pieces in place, insurance policies in place, to where, hey, if Mekhi Becton isn't 100% healthy, we can go plug in a guy here and the season isn't lost. We're not losing games because one player got hurt.
It's so important. And you're echoing a lot of what I've been pushing for, specifically on the offensive line. I think a lot of people get hung up on the idea of drafting one super early, and of course that can pay dividends. But I do really think that we're at the point now in Joe Douglas's tenure. He's really been very aggressive in addressing offensive line in the draft early, also in free agency. I think now is the time to really start building that farming system of offensive linemen and just getting guys in the mid rounds that you feel like can be depth guys in case there's an injury, but also guys that could potentially be, future starters. And that goes for all position groups. It doesn't have to be offensive line. Super, super important. And we shouldn't be in the long haul. We should not be starting rookies, every single year. Like we should only have like 1 to 2, maybe 3 at the most starting in any given season. Having 5, 6 guys playing and starting, significant roles, that's not really a recipe for success, I would say. So good stuff again. Thank
Yeah,
you, Edward, again. Really
agreed.
appreciate it. Let's go to another mailbag here. I like this one. This is a cool one. This is from Brian Lamaski, sorry. And he says, how does the pair of tight ends the Jets... Oh, God, I keep hitting this friggin' button. What is wrong with me? Sorry. Trigger happy, I guess, right? Let's try this one more time. There we go. Sure. Why not? You're Jets today. I'm Jets Central now. Sorry, buddy. Uh, how does the pair of tight ends that the Jets signed compare to the tight ends that contracts? What are your thoughts on the Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry versus CJ Uzama and Tyler Conklin?
Yeah, I don't know. Can you hear me okay and see me okay? It's kind of glitchy on my end.
I see you perfectly, and you are not buffering at all.
Okay, perfect. So I think Conklin and Uzama are more the bargain route, obviously, with the money invested. I think both guys in New England have the higher upside, but at the same time, if you could get similar type of production, then the Jets are obviously in a better favor.
Will you all stop screwing with me? My God, this is too much. All right, they're breaking my they're busting me. All right, here we'll keep going here. We got another
Oh, it's
mailbag.
all good, dude. It's all good.
We got one more here. Let's see. It says, what specific things must Zach accomplish for year 2 to be considered a success? We talked about wins. How about some? It doesn't have to be statistical. Maybe just some certain things that you want to see on the football field. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, as long as he's progressing in his weak spots, I think that's really telling of a franchise quarterback. I think it's hard to be a franchise quarterback when you have glaring issues and they never get fixed. Sam Darnold's a good example of that, like reading a defense, interceptions, holding onto the football, like with the fumbles and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
costly turnovers. These are problems that seem to pop up no matter the team, no matter the coach, no matter the scheme, no matter the players around them. It's a continuous problem. But with franchise quarterbacks, these problems tend to get better over time. You look at a guy in Josh Allen. It was speed of the game. It was accuracy with the football, ball placement, decision making, and those are things that got better throughout the course of his career with Sean McDermott in Buffalo. So I think it's getting better in the areas of need, and I would say probably the biggest one is accuracy for Zach Wilson. We know he is mobile. We know he has the really good arm strength.
Mm-hmm.
Super exciting player, but if you can't hit targets in stride, if wide receivers are constantly have to or are constantly slowing down to make your catches or reaching behind them or having to leap in front of them to pull down a reception, then it's just a recipe for disaster. I mean, yeah, you can get away with it here and there, but over time you're going to miss targets. You're going to set your guys up to get smacked by defenders. And for me, it's really just getting better at the weak parts of his game.
Fair point. And I will throw in there, you know, you'd said the accuracy, and there were times where they just wasn't accurate enough, man. Not giving his guys enough of a chance to get the ball in their hands. The one play that always sticks out to me, and maybe it shouldn't because it was really, at the end of the day, it didn't really matter. But the tight end, it was Griffin, I believe, in the Titans game, and the clock was running down, and he could have killed. The game would have been over. If he had thrown the ball to Griffin, hit him in,
Yeah.
the game was over. And he missed him. They had to kick the field goal, and They didn't, and I mean, they ended up winning the game, so ultimately it didn't really matter, like I said. But that was one of those ones where he could have absolutely drove the nail into the coffin and just didn't. He didn't make the play. So he's gonna need to be able to take opportunities like that and just absolutely make the layups. And I think that was something they talked about during the year is he has to be able to hit those layups. And part of it is his fundamentals and, just also not getting in his own head. I think that was a part of the issue last year was he was mentally going way, way too fast. And there were games where you could kind of see like he had some confidence. I think that Eagles game early on, you could see that swagger and the ball was just coming out of his hands. The Bucks game for sure. A lot of people point to that one. So I would say getting the ball out quickly and accurately. Quickly is very important because if he's able to decipher what the defense is doing, he'll be able to make a lot of football plays. So, all right, cool.
Mhm.
Laura Dana Marie, good to have you on the show. And she leaves us super chat. Thank you very much. She says, might be highly unlikely, but I thought that about many players that got traded this offseason. Do you think Terry McLaurin could be a trade option? I love him and he is great. I think he is super underrated, one of the most underrated wide receivers in the league. You talk about some of the wide receivers in the NFL that just haven't played with a great quarterback. He is absolutely one of those dudes. Allen Robinson comes to mind, a guy that hasn't really had a great quarterback to play with. If he were available, would you be interested in him? I don't know why the Commanders would look to trade him, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I don't think he's going to be a trade option. I think one of the big selling points for acquiring Carson Wentz is the fact that they actually have some playmakers around Antonio
Mm-hmm.
Gibson, Curtis Samuel, McLaurin, and obviously they're keeping the 11th overall pick. They were able to hang on to that. So I think one of the big, selling points of getting Carson is the fact that he can spray the football around, and you do have a potential number one, budding star in McLaurin. But hey, I mean, if we've seen stranger things, Tyreek Hill got traded today, right? Who saw that coming? But
Mm-hmm.
hey, if McLaurin becomes available, I would be all over that.
Absolutely. I think. I mean, really, we're looking for anything, right? We're not too picky here, Jets fans. we're looking for anything, and I still think that the draft is a viable option. I think that there's nothing wrong with the Jets going and getting themselves a wide receiver at number 10. I think that it's super likely that they're going to go edge and wide receiver in round 1. I don't think there's too much. It's not really worth debating. I think that's pretty likely. Nothing's guaranteed, but all right, let's go to this one. This is a good question here. I like this one a lot. This is from Sun Moon Rise 31, and he says Jets free agency was a good one in my opinion, but he's saying please play the devil's advocate here. Any players that maybe you feel like signings that he made that maybe aren't as justifiable as some of the other ones. Like I think very very highly of the Laken Tomlinson move. I think most people do. Scheme fit, the contract's fair, and it's not too long. It's not a huge risk. Any players that we sign though that you think maybe could end up not necessarily burning us because I don't think any of the contracts are structured that way, but any moves that you're questioning a little bit.
Great question, by the
I
way.
think I think so too.
It's fun to look at these things like through different lenses sometimes, but I think for me, I'm a little worried about Uzama's longevity. Considering he is coming off the best season of his career, and it kind of he doesn't have that in-game speed that I kind of want to see. Conklin has it, but for me, like Uzama's a little bit of a clunker. So like long term, 3 years from now or 2 years from now, I don't really know how that's going to look. But I think in the short term, it's awesome. And then you talked about Lake and Tomlinson before. I think although I love that signing, I am not complaining about the signing whatsoever. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
awesome. You could make an argument that Tomlinson was overpaid. The 3 years, what was it? 3 years, 40 million.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to be transitioning over to right guard. Again, I don't think that's going to be a problem, but it's something that you have to mention when a lot of Jets fans really wanted James Daniels from Chicago, who signed a 3-year, I believe, $26 million deal with Pittsburgh. So you're
Yep.
getting him I mean, at a way, way cheaper price at a natural position, and Daniels would come in and fit the system. So those are my only two gripes, but I'm really trying to grasp at something here.
This is why I'm glad you came on. I knew you wouldn't BS me. You're giving me the, the take that maybe opposes mine a little bit, but that's awesome. I think that's great. And I'll throw in actually, you talked about Uzama. The injury, he's had a couple of injuries and really only 1 year of big time production as well. So I do also kind of question that one. I don't really worry about it too much though, because like I said, the contracts, I don't know if there's really any of them that are like we can't get out of them after a year or two. So that for that reason, I'm not too worried. My favorite one, and this isn't really answering the question, I think that the Jordan Whitehead move is excellent. I think he's going to fit beautifully into what we're trying to do, and Conklin as well. I feel really good about those moves. And I guess it would be disappointing if Jacob Martin was the only guy we added at edge. So I'm not questioning the move. More or less, I'm wondering, should we go out and maybe go get another guy as well? I've mentioned Derek Barnett from the Eagles. Not that he's a world beater, but another guy in the mix. We still don't have any certainties with Carl Lawson, so I think getting another guy might be beneficial. All right, let's keep going here. Let's get another comment here. Or sorry, another mailbag here. This is the one that we've been kind of flirting with all night, so let's go ahead and do it. And this is from Juice World 999. He says, if you had to pick either Drake London or Garrett Wilson to be the first wide receiver for us to draft, who would you feel comfortable taking if you were Joe Douglas, and why or why not? Pretty straightforward. If you have another wide receiver, you can obviously throw them in the mix as well.
Yeah, so I think for me, I would go with Garrett Wilson. This is a guy who can play on the outside and on the inside. He plays kind of like he's not the biggest dude in the world. He's only like little over 6 feet,
Mm-hmm.
but he plays a lot bigger. Like he really does. Like his vert is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Strong hands, can beat you deep. Not is he's not some one trick pony like a Deshaun Jackson or a Robbie Anderson, but he could definitely do damage in the deep parts of the field. One-on-one coverage. If he puts a move on somebody at the line of scrimmage, like he could very well beat him over the top. But when I'm thinking about Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson on crossers underneath, I mean, who do you guard there? Like it's difficult. I think the best way to kind of cover that is just like a zone kind of look from your linebackers to where they all fade back to where you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to minimize everything. But if that threat is there every single time those two are on the field, and Elijah Moore has that versatility as well, putting guys in motion. I think, you can take more, you could put him on the outside and then line Garrett Wilson up on the opposite side of the field on the inside and, scheme things up that way. There's just so much versatility. And even though there is some talk about putting London in the slot, and obviously he's a way bigger body, bigger catch radius and everything like that, bigger red zone threat, I think Garrett Wilson fits the offense a little bit better when you take a look at separation and route running. Again, London is not some horrible route runner or anything like that. And if London's the pick, I would love it.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely be an upgrade over what we have. But I think if it comes down to it, both guys are on the board. We don't address wide receiver. We don't pull off a trade. I think I'm taking Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, I think I favor him too, and I think a lot of fans do. I think it's fun. This is like one of the best conversation pieces of the off season because so many people feel differently on this one. There's a sector of fans that are adamant that Drake London would be, the different, piece to this offense that we don't really necessarily have. There are people that say Treylon Burks, go ahead and get him in the late first round if you can move around a little bit, maybe that early second round. A lot of people like Olave, they throw him in the mix. They say he's kind of, built similarly to a Garrett Wilson, has the same type of skill set, being able to separate. Jahan Dotson's another dude. So if I'm picking between the two as well, I'm also going Garrett Wilson, but Roy Romano, he says Drake London for his size, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. Like, he is the different that we don't necessarily have. He is different than what we have on the team. He would create some mismatch, opportunities on the outside. I think there are some cornerbacks that would have a hard time dealing with him on the outside, to be perfectly honest with you, just for the size aspect of it. But that's not enough to make him the number 10 overall pick either, I would say. All
Mhm.
right. All right, let's keep it moving here. Got another one. Jared Helmuth, and he has been submitting mailbags every week, dude. I really do appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. He says, people say that Trayvon Walker isn't a true edge rusher, but he's versatile. What if the Jets look to take Walker at 4 or 10, and then perhaps the Jets do a double dip, and they go get another defensive end at maybe like a Boye Mafe at 35 or 38? And then he also says, would an inside defensive lineman be better than maybe a defensive end at that 35, 38 spot? What do you think?
So I think the only way that we would double dip at defensive end is if we have no faith in Carl Lawson. Like the injury, like he's just not making progress and he's not going to look like the same player, or there's a lot of fear that he could be hurt again, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Something along those lines, especially that early. Like we still need to address free safety. I know we need to address wide receiver one, cornerback one. That's obviously a little debatable, and tackle. So it's like, do we want to double dip at a position where one guy might not be getting a lot of playing time? I think interior defensive line would be more so the option, preferably a guy that could come in and try to fill Fadakasi's shoes. I mean, he was a big player for us last season on the defensive line, one of the only bright spots of the defense, and he's gone. So somebody that we have to replace.
Definitely. And it would be also nice to get a defensive lineman. And I mentioned this, I think, in a video recently, getting another interior pass rusher. I know that we really like, what Quinnen Williams can do. I think a lot of people see him as having upside still in this defense, in the scheme specifically. But I think having another guy in the mix on the inside that could kind of give him, a rest on the sideline. They rotate these guys like crazy on defense. Maybe you think JFM's the guy that could fill that role on the inside. I think that's possible. Sheldon Rankins is most likely going to be back. So, those guys are all in the mix, but I do think it's important. Jonathan Marshall, they drafted him last year. Maybe he could take another step forward and maybe potentially get into the rotation. We'll have to wait and see. J. Cole wanted to give you a little shout out. He says, big fan. And he wants to know what's your opinion on Nakobe Dean. So I'll give you that chance to talk a little bit about Nakobe.
Yeah, well, dude, Jay, I appreciate it, man. It really means the world. But when I look at Nakobe Dean, I mean, he's an exciting player to watch, right? Super athletic and whatnot. Just wreaked havoc for Georgia. Just a freak athlete, right? But when I look at the New York Jets, the scheme that Georgia runs, I don't think is super, super similar to what the Jets want to do. And I think the Jets feel really good about the linebacker spot as they kind of are with Quincy Williams and CJ Mosley, and obviously the younger guys with Nasruddin and Sherwood. And I just think, and I know you're not supposed to just enter the draft with blinders on saying, oh, what do we need? Those are the only players that we need to draft. There should be some or there should be that argument of quality, right? Going for the top players on your big board, because at the end of the day, you're trying to get better as a football team. But I think when I look at edge, if there's an opportunity to draft a cornerback one, or a wide receiver, I'm really, really that's the direction that I'm leaning, as opposed to a linebacker that I feel like I can maybe go get a hair. I don't know. There's a lot of linebacking options that I feel like you could go snag in round 3, round 4. Like we got some awesome picks there. We get that high 3rd round pick, high 4th round picks. And I mean, it's a pretty young room to begin with. So
yeah, I think that's all fair points to make. And kind of like the safety position, that's another bag of worms that we can open in a little bit here if we have the time. That's kind of the whole reason why I'm not in favor of Kyle Hamilton in the first round, is because I love what we could possibly land in the second round. That seems like a really nice spot for the safety position, and it's kind of similar to the linebacker spot. You can go ahead and get somebody really, really good in the first round, but also there's some depth there and there's some value to be had later on. So good point by you. Guys, thank you very, very much. I'm going to go ahead and give a short commercial here. I'm just going to, again, thank you to Ian for tuning in and joining me, I should say. And thank you guys for stopping by. If you haven't hit that like button, go ahead and smack it right now for me. That would be a real big help and would appreciate that very, very much. Let's go to another. We had tons of mailbag. I think I told you that in the DM. I was like, lots of people wanted to send in questions, and I think most of them were for you. So, that's a credit to you. This is from Jorge Gonzalez. He says, "Would you be against taking an offensive lineman with the fourth pick?" I've been making my opinion clear, and maybe you have on your channel as well. Joe has shown his desire to not just be good in the trenches, but he wants to dominate the trenches. Taking Ekwonu at 4, turning around and taking maybe Jermaine Johnson or Trayvon Walker at 10 would do just that. And then he's saying maybe we'll take our wide receiver in round 2. So what are your thoughts on, both lines of the scrimmage being addressed in round 1 and then going and getting your skill players after that?
I think it's fair. I wouldn't be against it. I hate to keep bringing it up, but I feel like the main driver here, or I think the Jets need to look at themselves in the mirror and kind of understand that we are projected to finish last in the AFC East, and the AFC as a conference is stacked. So we can't be reaching on specific positions. We got to make sure we got to stick to our board. And if Evan Neal falls to us at 4, if Ekwonu is there at spot number 4, if Charles Cross is there at either 4 or 10, maybe I'm just a little high on Charles Cross, but
I think there's
like
a lot of
if
people. There's a lot of people actually, and you're not the only one. I didn't want to cut you off, but there's some building speculation that the Jets are really interested in Cross.
Yeah, I think he would be a great system fit. Obviously, like you have some question marks about Mekhi Becton's health moving forward with the injuries and everything like that. And unfortunately, we couldn't bring back Morgan Moses. So, if there's an offensive lineman worth taking there, it definitely should be in consideration. And then on defense, the scheme is built all about getting after the quarterback with your front 4 linemen. It's not this blitz crazy. It's not Todd Bowles, right? It's not Rex Ryan with the blitzes and everything like that. It's, can you win on the edge? Can you, clog holes up the middle and really disrupt the passer with your 4 guys? And currently, I don't think we have the roster to consistently do that. At times we've seen JFM flash, but then there's times where certain guys disappear. And I want to get more consistent there. I want to get more talent there. I want to get more depth there. So I would not be opposed to that at all. The only thing, I think you'd have to be sold on numerous wide receivers in the second round that are projected to go there, because I could see Buffalo adding a wide receiver. I could see Green Bay potentially adding 2 wide receivers. I could see I was going to say the Dolphins at 29, but
How
maybe
about
the Chiefs.
The Chiefs.
Yeah. So maybe the Chiefs can figure something out. Luckily, there is a lot of solid options like Watson, North Dakota State. Olave is probably one of my favorites in the class. David Bell, even from Purdue, like there's a lot of talent there. I like Pickens from Georgia, Mechie from Bama. Like there's so many dudes.
Jahan
But
Dotson.
Yep, Jahan Dotson. But the thing is, it's like, if you're betting on the fact that, if you're sold that, let's just say it's Dotson, he's your guy, and he's not there in the second round, and you haven't addressed wide receiver, and we've already missed out on all these other wide receivers. It's like, now what? So we have to be, to me at least, we have to be sold on like numerous players.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say. All good comments by you for sure. Let's go ahead. We have a super chat, and then we have 2 more mailbags, and we're going to go through these kind of quick, and we'll get to some scenario based stuff, because I do want to hear your take on some of these mid round offensive linemen. So if they don't go Evan Neal, if they don't go Ekwonu at 4, I really like some of the guys, and I have a little short list that I would, but I would love to hear what you have to say. You have a really good insight on the college game, and so we'll get to those things, and then I think it'll be time for you to go. So Thomas Cahill, thank you for the super chat. He says, guys, wouldn't Breece Hall splitting plays with Carter provide an unstoppable backfield and take a lot of pressure off of Zach Wilson? What are your thoughts on Breece Hall potentially being that 1-2 punch with Carter?
So Breece Hall is the best running back in the class. Like, he is a freaking animal. I watched a ton of them at Iowa State. He kind of has that Le'Veon Bell back at Michigan State vibe about him, where he's a big back, like he's a power back, like he is strong, he's built, difficult to bring down. But the move, and he kind of plays in like slow motion. Like it seems like he's not the fastest guy in the world, but he has like a ton of moves, like the spin moves, the juke moves. They're crazy with Brees Hall. The only thing I think Buffalo is going to be drafting Hall in the back half. At the I think they have pick 30 or 20, yeah, 30, I think, or 28 or something.
Hmm.
I think he's going to be a Buffalo Bill, bottom of the first round. But Brees Hall is a beast, man. He's a really, really good player.
Yeah, and I'm sure you would agree. There's some good running backs to be had, even if it's not a Brees Hall. There's a lot of interesting players at the running back position. So let's go ahead and let's move on. We've got this one's interesting, and I'm interested to hear what you have to say because it's a little bit tricky. Hard to know what an NFL team will do. We saw it happen with Willis McGahee years ago. Completely destroyed his knee in that bowl game and still got drafted in round one by the Buffalo Bills. So Sean McAteer, he is saying thoughts on where guys like Jameson, Williams, and David Ajabo will fall in the draft because of the injury.
So I think Jameson Williams will still be a first round guy. I think New England could really like Williams, middle first round. Um, maybe the Saints middle of the first round. I think Ajabo will fall to round two because I think if Williams is healthy, he could step in and immediately play. I think Ajabo, although he has the incredibly high upside, he is still somewhat of a raw player. And if he isn't 100% good to go for training camp and everything like that, if he can't really get acclimated to the NFL game early, I have a hard time seeing him being a first round pick, especially if it's not a team with two first rounders. So, you can maybe take a look at a team like the Lions back into the first round at pick number 32. That would be really interesting. That would be, awesome value. He would come in at a position of need. He would come in and fit that system, but there's not that immediate pressure to play right away. Like, we got to get you in there. We got to get you in because they have the second overall pick. They have a really high second round pick, so because you have more quantity here, the pressure isn't there for some of these guys. But Williams specifically, I think is still going to be a round one guy.
Yeah, and James, who was supposed to be on the show, James Wighouse from Jets X Factor, he's a contributor, and he's my weekly co-host of the Wednesday podcast. And he's been singing the praises, of course, because he's an Alabama guy. He's a fan of them, and he's been talking a lot about Jameson Williams. And it would totally suck if he was a Patriot. That would be awful. I would not enjoy that at all.
Yeah, I was actually looking forward to meeting James. I was surprised when I didn't see him on here.
Yeah, so he's a lawyer, and he had a work situation
Ah,
come up, and he was texting me, and he was like kicking himself. He's like, it sucks that I can't be there to hang out, but maybe something in the future we can do something again. But all right, so David Ajabo would be awesome. I think if that's the other thing, if we decide, and you talked a lot about cornerback one tonight, let's say they go Sauce at 4. I don't know if you're for that or against it, and then they go get their wide receiver at 10. Man, if if David Ajabo falls to the beginning of round 2, that's a scenario where you've hit on 3 first round talents, not really having to trade up for any of them. That could be a really intriguing option or scenario as well. All right.
yep. Especially.
Go
Oh,
ahead. I'm
sorry. Go
sorry.
ahead.
No, you're good. You're good.
No, I was just gonna say the Jets kind of fall in line like the Detroit Lions with a team that has like a bunch of different picks. So it's like, hey, if we have 4 picks in the top 40 and we use one of them on Ojabo, we have 3 guys that we can kind of count on in the meantime. Not necessarily at the same position, but
Yeah, he does lose points for being a lawyer, right? Total skis bag, that guy. All right, we will go down to the last mailbag. And again, thank you guys so much. The mailbags are awesome. The questions are great. You guys are fantastic and really do try to put an emphasis on you guys being a part of the channel and having your voice be heard. And this is from John, and he is saying, I'm not convinced that Atlanta is going to stand pat with Mariota. I think a lot of people agree with that. I still think they could trade up to get Malik Willis. If the Jets don't get Thibodeaux at 4, would you be willing to trade that 4th pick, which is worth about 1,800 points, to Atlanta for their 8th pick and the 43rd pick, excuse me, which would equal about 1,870 points. So we'd be picking up their 8th pick, moving back 4 slots, and picking up the 2nd round pick. Would you be in favor of doing that? I say hell yes. I would be all over that because you're still going to be able to address the edge. You're still going to be able to address your wide receiver spot, and you get another premium pick.
Yeah, I think at that point you would have let's see, 5 picks in the top 50. So it's super enticing. I would do that every day of the week.
Yeah, I think that's the easy answer, right? Because who are we to decline another 2nd round pick? I don't think we're in a position to do that, even though we're sliding back. I think you have to take that risk and you have to be willing to make that move. Thank you to a million people who sent in those mailbags. Really means a lot. And we are going to get to our very first, I guess, topic, if you will, for the show. So 50 minutes of mailbags. That's pretty good. This first one's straightforward, and maybe you've talked a little bit about it already. But Hutchinson, Kayvon Thibodeaux, Ikem Ekwonu. Let's just say the scenario on draft day presents itself, and all 3 of those dudes are gone. We're sitting at pick 4, and I did a mock draft, and I put that scenario in front of myself, and I really had a hard time with making a pick, knowing where to go with that 4th pick. I'm asking you, what would you do? And I guess chat, I'm asking you the same exact thing. What would be your draft pick? Would it be Kyle Hamilton? Would it be Evan Neal? Would you reach for a wide receiver? Would you reach for an edge rusher that you feel really good about, like a JJ, Trayvon Walker? What are you gonna say, Ian?
I fan of Kyle Hamilton. I really am. But I think right now Evan Neal gives you versatility. He gives you upside. He's a safe player. He can play on the left side. He can play on the right side. He can play tackle. He can play guard. We have a lot of question marks on offensive line. Or really at tackle. I feel good about Evan Neal on either side. Becton doesn't look healthy. George Fant can lock down one of them, but maybe Mackay, there's size concerns from the organization or something like that. He's not good to go. If somebody gets hurt again, Evan Neal can fill, perfectly, right? He can just fill that void. And he gives you, and we talked about, addressing the trenches earlier, from one of the questions. Evan Neal, he's a nasty player, might not be as nasty as an Ekwonu, but man, I really, really like Evan Neal. But then again, it's like Charles Cross is there. Ahmad Gardner's there. If this Jets organization views Gardner as a CB1, a true, because you're not taking a guy top 5 that you don't feel has the potential to be a top 5 cornerback in football. You're not doing it.
Yeah.
And if you are doing it, something's got to change here. Like that's a premium pick, and you got to make sure you hit at corner. If you're taking a corner, it's got to work out. You
Yep.
don't want a Jeff Okudah situation like in Detroit. Um, but then again, you can look at Jalen Ramsey in Jacksonville, and it worked out. I know he's with the Rams now, but as far as him becoming the top cornerback in football, it worked. Jacksonville's front office was spot on with that. So I think really, it's not so much of a question of who would be the pick. It's understanding we can go in 3, maybe 4 different directions and walk away victorious on draft night, or at least at pick 4.
Yeah, I think that's a great way of saying it. It's really a matter of preference. What do the Jets feel like they need it for the most? And with those 3 guys gone, you could feel good in going Hamilton, Gardner, Jermaine Johnson. Did you talk about JJ? I was kind of reading the comments a little bit. Did you mention JJ? Would you be willing to do him at 4?
So I'm a big fan of Johnson. I really am. My only hesitation is that I feel like you can maybe get him at 10. I don't feel like Evan Neal will fall to 10.
Mm-hmm.
You can say, Jackson or the Giants are going to take an offensive lineman. They have 2 picks in the top 10. Seattle needs a left tackle. Carolina needs help at tackle. I just don't see the top 3 tackles falling all the way down to 10. But I definitely view Johnson as one of those guys that maybe, I mean, if he's not the pick by the Giants, I could see him being there for Joe Douglas at 10.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that agree with that. Maybe that those guys are a bit of a reach at 4, and you could definitely, swing and take a little bit of a risk and possibly land them at 10. I think that's completely in bounds to say. Justice for George says Johnson and Walker are big time gambles and would be a reach at that spot. So I guess we're seeing an agreement there. I don't know if Johnson's a gamble. I think that maybe you could make the classification that he is a reach though at 4. Antonio Jimenez, he is saying definitely Garrett Wilson at 10. I think a lot of people would be super, super fired up if that ends up being the pick. Before we lose you, and again, I want to thank you a million times again for coming on. It's been a lot of fun talking with you, picking your brain here. I do want
Yeah,
to hear
dude,
your.
it definitely sorry to cut you off. I was just gonna
No,
say I again appreciate you having me, and definitely won't be the last time.
that's awesome. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. We've got one last topic, and I do want to hear from you. I'm not going to say anything about it. I'll talk about it after you head on out. Mid-round O-line targets. We're all talking about the top guys: Evan Neal, Ekwonu, Cross, even Tyler Linderbaum. There's a lot of people that like him. Who were some of the guys maybe in that second to fifth round range that, if they don't end up taking a tackle, they go, let's say, edge and wide receiver in round 1? Who are some guys that you would want to see wearing green and white that maybe most people aren't even mentioning as options? Because I think there's a lot of really intriguing options that not only would fill the need of depth, but also future talent and also scheme fit.
Yeah, I think for me, the number one guy, or not like as far as ranking all these guys, but like my personal favorite is Darian Kinnard from Kentucky. I mean, this is a guy that's coming from a zone blocking scheme at Kentucky. I mean, he can play tackle or guard. He's projected more to the NFL as a guard, and I would actually really like him as a guard for the Jets. But if we land whatever KT at 4, Gardner at 10, a wide receiver at 10. Like we don't address offensive line with the first 2 picks, and we don't really address it, via trade or another free agency acquisition. And Kennard is sitting there with one of our second round picks. I wouldn't be opposed to selecting him. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I really wouldn't. I don't think the transition would be super hard for him. I think it would be pretty seamless. Falalele from Minnesota is another intriguing option.
The
Penning
mountain.
from Northern Iowa. Wait, what was that?
I just said the mountain. That dude is a
Yeah.
massive unit.
Yeah, yeah, he is. Crazy, but Penning from Northern Iowa, he might be a first round guy. I mean, if he falls to round 2, I would be all over that. If I was Joe Douglas and the Jets, like this guy is so aggressive. But yeah, I mean, really, those are the main 3 I'm looking at tackle. But funny enough, I actually spent a lot of time looking at like guards, or
Mm-hmm.
interior offensive linemen before we added Lake and Tomlinson. So like guys like Kenyon Green from Texas A&M and Cole Strange from Chattanooga, stuff like that. Lindstrom, Boston College,
Mm-hmm.
Johnson, Boston College. Like there's a lot of guys that I feel like could come in and play. But for me, I would say if I'm looking at the middle round specifically, a guy who I feel is going to be pretty, I feel confident is going to be there is Darian Kinnard.
Yep. Awesome. And again, I want to respect your time. I'm going to get you out of here like 30 seconds early. Guys, again, description, go to it. Follow him on Twitter, follow him on Instagram, go to his YouTube channel. And again, Ian, the best. Thank you very, very much. You are the original gangster of Jets YouTube. So much respect to you, man. I really do mean that. You do awesome work, and taking the time out of your day, joining me, talking Jets. Good stuff by you, man. I really, really appreciate it and respect it.
Oh, dude, I appreciate it, man. You don't gotta thank me. It's my pleasure to be here. It sucks that I have to work, dude. I work every night. For those of you guys who don't know, so it kind of sucks. But no, like I said before, like it won't be the last time. I'm definitely down to hop on again at some point. And
Cool.
yeah, dude, thanks so much.
Absolutely, man. You have a great night. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you too. And thanks to everybody that tuned in and asked some questions. It was awesome.
Awesome. Good stuff, man. Take care.
Take care, guys.
All right. Bye bye. There you go. Ian, the man from Jets Central, joined Jets Today. Who'da thunk it, right? Who'da thunk it? Joining me. And honestly, man, I'm not trying to kiss any butts here. He's great. He is awesome. He knows football. He has been talking Jets football the longest. And I meant to ask him, how many years Jets Central has been doing, his YouTube content creation. He has been doing this for a long time at a really, really high level. He knows his stuff. So again, thank you guys for tuning in and, the comments. And I have been trying my best to read your comments, guys. He is the real OG. That's why I said it, Sneaker to Boots. He's the original. And all of the people that follow him and that watch his videos, he deserves all of it, man. He works his butt off. He will post videos literally minutes after they, have been announced. So he gets all the credit in the world for his instant reaction. And so anyway, all butt kissing aside, thank you, Ian. Again, if you check that out, if you're checking this out right now, dude, really appreciate it. I agree. Dude's only 20, what did he say, 27, 26 years old? Big time future ahead of him. Absolutely. And I mean, I don't know what his, I don't know what he does for a career, but he absolutely could do whatever he wanted. I feel like the Jets are crazy for not reaching out to him already. He didn't say go Jets. That's true. I'll have to send him this message actually and let him know. So let's go ahead and let's get back on topic here. I'm going to actually, thank you, Jets Central. He threw it in there. You didn't say go Jets though, man. And people are upset. So we'll have to see if you get another invite. Jay Klein, I was thinking the same thing. All right, let's go on. If you guys are up for it, I'm up for it. I'm down for doing a mock draft right now. And Kev Chatta, I have pants older than Ian. We can do a mock draft, and we can also kind of do the scenario where now we know that, Tyreek Hill is not going to be a Jet. And justice for George, we do need that sauce guy. There he is. Go Jets. See? I knew he would throw it in there. All right, let's go ahead and let's do a mock, but I'm going to give you my mid-round targets so Ian knows his stuff. There was one name that I didn't hear him mention, and this is maybe a dark horse here. Max Mitchell from Louisiana, and 6'6", 300 pounds. This guy's got really long arms, 34-inch arms, 81-inch wingspan. He's played in 51 college football games, so loads of snaps, loads of experience. The athleticism's really, really good with him. And I was doing my research, before the stream here. He graded out, according to PFF, as one of the best run blocking offensive linemen in the entire class. And, some downsides for him, he didn't show out really at the combine, wasn't a dominant performer at the combine. But, the talent is there, and certainly the fundamentals, the technique, and the fact that he's been playing a lot of football for a long time is very intriguing. He's only 22 years old. So Max Mitchell is going to be one of my dark horse guys. And then the other one, and I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Luke Goedeke from Central Michigan. This is a run blocking zone scheme dream fit. He actually had a 7,000 calorie diet to add weight back in 2019 so that he could play offensive line, which I think is pretty interesting. Had a knee injury in 2020, but he has been a really good offensive lineman for Central Michigan. And let me get back to my chat. We got Gangrene here, and he says, what are the chances of playing in the playoffs? All you hear is how much games you want to win. I, on the other hand, want Sam Williams from Alabama. I don't know if playoffs are in the conversation, unfortunately, man. I think that right now we're really just looking to add better players and get some star talent in here, right? We're still missing, and I talked about it earlier, we're still missing those really upper echelon, playmakers. We missed out on Tyreek Hill. They were looking to add Chandler Jones. They were trying to get him in the mix at the edge. So until we really see our young players take that next step, Elijah Moore, Michael Carter, Zach Wilson, Quinnen Williams, Mike Mackay Becton. I mean, you can go on and on and on. Until these guys take that next step and really make a name for themselves, no, we are not going to make the playoffs. Unfortunately, I think that's just the ugly news that I'm giving you. I'm gonna say no to the playoffs. Vern is agreeing with you. Sam Williams is from Ole Miss, but he is very, very good. And I actually got into a Twitter discussion with another person actually a few months back talking about Sam Williams as a potential fit. And there was some off the field stuff as well. But he would be a really intriguing name to keep your eye on, the edge rusher. Edward Ziff, thank you very much for the super chat. He says, guarantee Joe trades up and down in this draft. Before we get to the mock draft, and that will be the next thing, guys. So if you're all thirsty for a mock, we will be doing that next. I think you're completely in bounds. He has traded up, and he's traded back before as well. I think the idea here is maybe the Jets will be at 35, and they see a guy kind of like with what they saw with Elijah Vera Tucker last year. They're going to see a player start to fall. Maybe it's a Jamison Williams and he gets into the 20s. Maybe it's a Zion Johnson, the Boston College center / guard. And they just say to themselves, we cannot afford to let this guy keep falling and miss out. I think that 35 or 38 could 100% be a trade-up scenario where the Jets go and they get themselves a third first-round pick. I see a lot of you guys are talking about wanting to add McLaurin. Is there news that I'm not aware of? Is he available for a trade? Because if he is, holy moly, yeah, the Jets should be all over that. Everybody's talking about McLaurin, though. Is he available? That's what I need to know, chat. Is Scary Terry available for a trade? If he is, yes, the Jets should be all over that. But I don't know if he is. All right. Let's go ahead and yep, exactly. Yep, the 5th-year option. You get another one of those players with one of those contracts where you have flexibility. Definitely. We should get Deontay Johnson from the Steelers. That would be awesome. I don't know why they would trade him, though. Why would the Steelers give him up? He would be awesome. Don't get me wrong. But that would be amazing. We should get DeAndre Hopkins. Is DeAndre Hopkins available? Why would they send him away? I would love it. You guys are enthusiastic to get a wide receiver. I really feel like we're going to be we're going to be drafting one very early. It's going to be, Garrett Wilson. It's going to be a Drake London, whoever they feel like. And maybe here's the other thing, guys. Don't rule this out. Maybe the Jets want to go and get Jamison Williams at number 10. Maybe that's a little bit early for a guy coming off of an injury, but if they feel like he can be that deep threat guy like a Tyreek Hill, why not go and spend the pick on Jamison Williams? Don't be afraid to swing big in the NFL draft. You gotta swing for the fences, man. No, sir. Bad. I know you're just messing around. All right. Let's get to the mock draft here. Let's go ahead and let's pull that up. Let me switch my scene here. Oh, I got to stretch myself out. I don't have a guest with me. By the way, guys, feel free to give James some crap for not making it tonight. That would be funny. Send him a message on social media at BSB Breakdowns. He's probably pretty sad, though, to be honest with you. He does have an injury history, but the talent is there, and the production that he put up last year, undeniably good and super, super talented. I would say I'm willing to take a swing for him personally. That's just my own opinion here. We're going to do the scenario that I mentioned earlier. I have control of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I have control of the Lions and the Texans. I'm going to make the first 3 picks Kayvon Thibodeaux, Ikem Ekwonu, and Aiden Hutchinson. Those are the 3 players that I'm going to take right now. And so the Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm going to give them Ikem Ekwonu right now. I'm going to make him the number 1 overall pick. You may think it's Aiden Hutchinson, and if that's the case, no worries. This is just a mock. So I'm going to make Can I make the pick? Why is this not working? Let's try that again. Hold on. Hang on. Hang on. Let's get the Jets. Let's do a 7-rounder. Let's do a relaxed trades. And let's just title this whatever we want. Perfect. And we'll start the draft. Okay. So exactly the scenario that I needed to happen happened, guys. There you go. Aiden Hutchinson's gone. Kayvon Thibodeaux's gone. Hutchinson Ekwonu is gone. What are we doing? This is a very, very plausible scenario on draft day. Michael N., he says, go and take Michael Hamilton. He's the best player available. I think Joe Douglas might agree with you, man. That's why I made the mock draft over this past weekend. I think that Joe Douglas might seriously consider it. I know some of you are saying you don't know Joe Douglas. He's not going to draft Hamilton. He's a safety. And I will, Emanon. Don't you worry. I am going to make a poll. But do not rule it out. They very well may say to themselves, shit, guys, we just need to get a good player. Let's go ahead and let's add a good player and not worry too much about the position. I really think the Jets may end up doing that. All right, let's go ahead and let's create a poll. And we are going to include a trade down option. So if you're one of those people that is dying for a trade back, I will include that. I am going to also include Hamilton, which I know that will be a problem for some of you, but I'm not going to deny my Hamilton crowd. There are people that feel really strongly that he should be the pick. Has to be edge. Karma 04 Karma says, I think it will be Trayvon Walker. I think Trayvon Walker could be the pick. I think that Joe Douglas will be very intrigued by him. Extremely athletic and versatile. This is a guy that can move all over the defensive line, can play edge. Jaime or Jamie, I apologize if I'm saying your name wrong. He's saying it has to be an edge. So let's do this. Let's say edge. And let's say sauce. Although I guess maybe let's do this. We'll do Hamilton / sauce. And we'll also put Wilson / London. And then I will give you guys a chance to scream in the chat who you want to be taken. Mike Cause, Jets all the time. What's going on, man? He says best player available, BPA and player of need. Yeah, I am okay with taking the best player available at number 4 because I feel like you can't afford to reach really. And that's kind of why I took Hamilton the other day. I think that if the Jets have this scenario come up on draft day, they're not going to reach for an edge just because they want to take a wide receiver at 10. I really do believe that. I think they're going to try their best to get the best player available. By the way, the poll is live, by the way, guys. So as of right now, trading back is the leading vote getter. And I'm totally fine with trading back because there could be a team that wants this pick for Malik Willis, the quarterback from Liberty. All right. Michael N. agrees with me. He's saying, definitely, dude. Yeah, they're going to take best player available. We have a lot of holes. Don't put Sauce and Hamilton. I'm sorry, Frank. I can't deny my viewers the opportunity to vote for those guys. If you feel strongly that it shouldn't be them, do not vote for them. Walker is lucky that he had a great defense that made him look good. And here's the thing. Walker didn't play a lot of edge. Like, he kind of played all over the place. They dropped him back in coverage a lot of times. So he's certainly got a little bit of rawness to his game and needs a lot of coaching, I would say, as well. Right now, the leading vote getter is trading back or taking Hamilton or Sauce. Wilson in London is not even getting enough votes to be considered. I know, Grant. I know. You've been saying it all offseason. Take Wilson at 4. He's going to be gone by the time we get to 10. And I think you're possibly right. On draft day, I think there's going to be a team that will swing for him. But unfortunately, I do think I agree. 4 is just, It's a very big need. We do need a wide receiver, but I think it's a little high for a wide receiver. No disrespect to you, of course, but I just think it's a little bit too high. We have a crap ton of votes, 52 votes, and the leading vote getter right now is trading back. I'm going to give it another 30 seconds or so, and then we're going to make the move, guys. We will move back, it looks like, from pick number 4. We can try to trade back with Seattle. We could try to trade back with Carolina. Maybe they want to leapfrog and make sure they get a quarterback. There's all kinds of scenarios here. Listen, I don't know. You feel strongly about it. I can hear you on that one. But I don't know if it would be dumb. And listen, man, no disrespect, because I know there are players that you probably absolutely love and feel very differently. Where is James? James is working. He got screwed at work, and he couldn't make the stream tonight. He's kicking himself that he couldn't make it. He'll be back next week. Oh, and speaking of which, next week, Jake Asman will be on the show, guys. So if you have had fun, seeing different faces on the show, you will see yet another one. It'll be James, it'll be me, and it'll be Jake Asman. And even better news, the week after that, it's going to be Matt O'Leary. Matt O'Leary is going to join the Jets Today show as well. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at the poll before we go ahead and make this trade, because I'm pretty sure that's where we're heading here. Yep. Trading back is the leading vote getter at 37% of the votes. So I'm going to end the poll. And we are going to go ahead and we're going to make a move here, guys. We're going to trade back from number 4. And I guess we'll look right now at Atlanta. I hope you guys are okay with that. I think that trading back with Atlanta makes a lot of sense. You guys are all talking about Jake in the chat. I'm really excited about it. He came on the show about a year ago. I'm sure Jake was really ticked off and upset. And dude, if I had been online, if I wasn't stuck at work, you would have been seeing the same stuff. I was literally, my heart was beating so hard at work. I was like, dude, if we get Tyreek Hill, that changes so much for what we could potentially look like on offense. Justice George, I am respectful of you, sir. You are talking about film, and that means a lot. Thank you for leaving the comment. I might have to watch a little bit more film on him myself. There are some people, though, that I respect that feel like he is a top 10 talent, but it's risky because maybe it doesn't work out. Okay, Joe Lass is the first person he's saying, let's try to trade back with Seattle. Rob V says, I want a haul for this pick. Definitely. I would like a future first. I think that's my big requirement in this trade back. If we're not getting a first round pick next year, it's got to be a second and change. I know, dude. Sauce would be great at 4. But we've got a poll, and I have to uphold it. So let's go ahead and let's start making some trades here. Let's take a look at Seattle, since that was the one that got mentioned. Let's go with pick number 9, and we're going to give them pick number 4. Let's ask for the future first. And what else do you think we should ask for? I'm okay with maybe going with the third rounder, but I don't know if they'll accept that trade. And it looks like they won't, because the option didn't come up. Let's throw in 69. Nope. Okay. So here you go. To make this trade work, we have to give them our 4th rounder this year to get their 9th overall pick and a future first. You might be right about that. That's kind of why I was leaning towards Atlanta. Not to mention we would have a pick, a slot earlier. Do a poll of Panthers, Falcons, Giants. I'd rather have the 2nd this year. I kind of agree. That might be nice. Joe Lass is saying pull that trade right now. Have the future pick. Rob V agrees. Do it. Hey, what's going on, dude? Shout out to NY Jets today. Great content, brother. Really appreciate you, dude. That's super cool of you. And look at that sexy man in the picture there. Your guy's future quarterback right there. I'm sure you're excited about him coming up this year. Doesn't make us better this year. That's true. This trade does not help us. In fact, this year it only hurts us. We're losing the 4th overall pick and we're losing a 4th round pick as well. Okay, Frank is saying, let's go ahead and take a look at what Atlanta would do. And I kind of agree. Let's see what we can manage with Atlanta. I will get rid of this pick. Let's do Atlanta. Where are they? Why can I not find them? There they are. Okay, we're going to do Atlanta and the Jets. We're going to get number 8. We're going to give them pick 4. Let's try to get a... Oh, look at that. So, I don't know about you guys, but this is like a really good one for this year. Obviously, we get that 2nd round pick. And we're pulling off the trade, I think. We're going to definitely make that trade. I'm going to let you guys put in the comments. I'm not going to create a poll. Just let me know what you think. Should we execute this trade right now? We get the 8th pick overall. Atlanta's QB thirsty. There's no reason to think that they might not want to move up and secure their quarterback. Robbie Oak says this is better. I would rather DK. Well, duh. Yeah, dude. DK, that's the thing that sucks is like DK would be such a beast in this offense. But I just don't think he's going to be available. And it looks like everybody's good with this. Atlanta is a go. Yes, yes. He wants a future first for Atlanta. I mean, I can show you. They're not going to take that, I don't think. Let's see what they would do here. Future first with Atlanta. Nope. We would have to throw something else in, and it's just like that other trade. So let's go ahead. Let's take the deal. Let's not waste any more time here. Let's go ahead and make the trade. We're getting number 8 and number 43. We're pulling this trade off right here, right now. The trade has been executed. And there you go. Kyle Hamilton went number 4 overall. Charles Cross to the Giants. Evan Neal to the Panthers. And then Trayvon Walker to the New York Football Giants. And now we've got the Jets back on the clock. And there are some really, really good players. We've got pick 8 and we've got pick number 10. And I'm already smiling, guys, because we can go ahead and we can land Ahmad Gardner. We can go ahead and land Garrett Wilson. We could go ahead and land Jermaine Johnson. To me, this is like really, really good scenario. Jay Klein, the Falcons are dumb. They are. They have had a mess of an offseason. Trading Matt Ryan, I know they had to because of, what they were doing with Deshaun Watson. But they didn't get a whole lot back, and they took a massive, massive cap hit trading him away. Like, it was like $40 million cap hit. Well, I think we all agree they probably wouldn't take Hamilton. They would probably go ahead and take Willis. Pretend like they took Willis. That's all I can say. We're in it for the picks, though. Let's go ahead and let's do this. Let's create a poll. And I'm going to give you a couple of choices here. And I'm just trying to pull up my poll options here. Where the heck is it? That's not it. Where the heck? Did I accidentally close it? No. Restore chat. Let's pop it out again. There we go. All right. I'm going to create another poll here, guys. And I'm going to give you... Wilson. I'm going to give you London. I'm going to give you Sauce. And I'm going to give you Jermaine Johnson. I feel like those are the guys that I want. And I'm giving you a choice here. And honestly, we'll take 2 of these players. We will take 2 of them here. And I think that, again, if you're landing Sauce Gardner at pick 8 and Garrett Wilson at pick 10, I think you could be really, really excited about that. I get that people are going to want the edge in round 1, and I agree. But you could still potentially get that edge. You could get a Boye Mafe in the 2nd round. there could be some intriguing options here. So go ahead and vote. The poll is up already, guys. Let me know who you want. And right now, the early voting, and it's very early, but Sauce is blowing it away right now. He is the early vote getter right now at 50%. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I see Grant Rude saying trade back again. I don't know if I'm going to do that. We already got the extra second rounder. I actually want to trade up in this draft. I want to try trading up from 35, and that's going to be one of the things that I look to do here shortly. When we get to pick number 10, we're going to make that move. A lot of you are saying Sauce. Go ahead and get your applesauce, baby. A lot of people are saying go ahead and get Jermaine Johnson. Okay, so Mafe might not be there. I could potentially see that for sure. That would be super awesome. I agree too, Salvatore. I love Jermaine. I think he's one of those defensive linemen that can come into the NFL and truly play day one. Like, I don't think he needs a ton of coaching. Chris Martini, agree. Breeze, Millie, Dedan. Sorry if I said your name wrong. He says, let's go get Sauce. And right now, guys, Sauce is killing in the votes in the poll. 51% of the votes. He's well ahead of Wilson. Sauce at 8 and London at 10. Don't be stupid, says Abracadabra. I'll try my best. If you guys wouldn't do me a big favor right now, go ahead and hit that like button for me. If you enjoyed having Jet Central on the show, hit the like button if you're excited about Jake Asman and Matt O'Leary coming on the next 2 weeks. And just jet up that like button if you are a fan of the channel. It would really mean a lot to me. All right, let's take a look here. Sauce is still in the lead, guys. 50 plus votes right now. I think we can go ahead and comfortably make him the first pick for the New York Jets. So, with that being said, with the 8th overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select cornerback Ahmad Gardner, Cincinnati. He is a New York Jet. And there you go. Malik Willis went number 9 overall. So the mock draft is not completely screwed up. We have the quarterback going in the top 10. And I'm with you, brother. Let's go double dip. Let's go get our defensive end. Let's go get our edge. Jake Klein is not in favor of this. He says, boo to all of you that voted for Sauce. The second vote getter right now is Garrett Wilson, just as a heads up, 28% of the votes. I can remake a poll and we can do Wilson versus Johnson. Or I guess I should say Wilson, London, and Johnson. So let's do that. I'll end this poll. I will create a new one very quickly here. And we're going to say London, Wilson, and we're going to say Sean Richardson. Thank you for subscribing to the channel, man. Really appreciate that. We're going to go ahead and get this poll going right now. It is live. Jermaine Johnson is available. Drake London is available. And Garrett Wilson is available. Those are the 3 picks that you guys can choose from. Go ahead and make it happen. Breeze, Millie, I'm with you, brother. I love Garrett Wilson. But I feel like edge is so important to this team. And again, if you think about who we're going against in the AFC and in the AFC East, we cannot get away on defense with not impacting the quarterback. Josh Allen, Tua now has Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. Screw Mac Jones. I want to hit him a lot. That guy does not really scare me. Thank you for throwing that back in the chat, Grant. We are going to trade up from 35, and I will need to do that before we make this pick, so thanks for the reminder. We took Mr. Ahmad Gardner Harry W. We actually traded back from 4 to 8. We picked up an extra second-round pick, and we took Ahmad Gardner at 8. Jake Klein, we're still going to get our edge. Don't you worry, buddy. Dolphins fans sending a little bit of grief our way. You should be very excited, dude. That's all I have to say. Much respect to you for coming in here. And I think you guys got a great freaking player. That's all I can say. What's up, William? All right, the chat is voting, and right now Garrett Wilson is in second place with 35% of the votes, and Jermaine Johnson is 51% of the votes. So, if you feel very passionately that this is not correct and you haven't voted yet, and there's 160 of you, jet up the like button and also vote on this poll, because we're about to move on. Squish the fish, baby. Squish the fish. I feel like nobody ever says that anymore, Emanon. Nobody ever uses that online. Squish the fish is one of my favorites. My dad taught me that one. Squish the fish. And screw the fish, too. Bodega, we are going to trade up from number 35. Don't you worry. I am not going to forget that. That is one of the scenarios that I really wanted to try out tonight. Okay. The votes are in. 60 of you voted. Jermaine Johnson is the guy. So I'm going to end the poll right now. And what I'm going to pose to you guys right now, I want you to tell me, where are we trading up? I want to trade up. Maybe you don't agree with the idea of trading up, but I am very much interested in seeing what will the draft look like if we decide to trade up from 35, 38, and also 43 in this scenario. What could we potentially land if we move up into the first round and have a third player? Let's see. Trade back with Philly. That could be interesting. We're going to trade up, though. Show the screen. What am I showing you? Am I showing you the players that are available? There are many. I see what you're saying. Who are we trading up with? Gotcha. So let me scroll down here. We could trade up with... Maybe we should try to get ahead of the Patriots. And so maybe that 19th spot is a sweet spot. It's a little bit high. It's going to cost a lot. Chris Wilson is saying maybe we could use a future second with the 35 to jump into round 2. Jaleel is saying let's trade with the Titans. And the Titans are picking... Let's see, where do the Titans pick? The Titans are at 26. Okay, so we would get ahead of teams like Kansas City and Green Bay. That would not cost us a lot, which I kind of like better. I don't really like the idea of having to get, really, really high up in the draft board. Like 19, I think we're going to have to pay too much. Trade up with Pittsburgh and get Olave. What a first round that would be, right? Joker Gaming, he's saying let's trade up for 19. Well, let's go ahead and let's screw around with it a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and say that 19 is a good spot because it does put us ahead of the New England Patriots. So let's try for 19 first. If that doesn't really work out, we'll move and we'll try to go ahead and jump ahead of the jump into the Tennessee Titans draft spot. It should be illegal for the Pats to draft. That would be nice, right? If we could just have a break, that the Pats they couldn't use any of their draft picks for a couple of years. That would be nice. Pittsburgh would be a good landing spot as well. Let's go ahead and let's try Philadelphia first. And I'm going to get on the phone right now. Call Howie Roseman. And let's trade with the Philadelphia Eagles. And I am terrible at finding these teams. Okay, here we go. So they've got pick number 19. We are super interested in it. And we're going to give you 35. And let's just say for giggles, let's throw out that 69. Hello. Guess what? They accept it. Let me show you. They are taking pick 35 and the third round pick 69 for 19. I'm going to hit this button unless somebody... or a bunch of you go ahead and tell me that this is a bad trade. I think 19 would be great. You can get your Olave. You could potentially... That's too much? Really? I don't know. To get in the middle of the first round? I feel like that's a pretty fair trade. Joe Last says, let's trade, baby. Joker Gaming says, do it. Okay, Robbie Oak. Good idea. He says, let's see if we can do 38 and 69 and weasel a little bit. Ryan Garcia likes the idea. Joker says, let's try maybe and give him the 4th. Okay, I will play around with this a little bit here. I'll take away 60. I'll take away 35, give him 38. Okay, so Robbie Oak, they say, no. Those 3 draft picks, or those 3 draft slots mean way too much. It has to be 35. I'm going to go ahead and offer them the 4th rounder instead, but they are not going to accept that. I could try and throw some change at them. A 4th and a 5th. Nope. I think I'm going to do it, guys. I think that's a great trade. And again, we are going to go ahead and get ourselves our wide receiver. And we're going to be able to get our edge. And we're going to be able to get our cornerback. I love this idea. James Sanzone, he says, hit the button. Grant Rude says, go ahead and try and pick up a 5th. And Amanon is saying the same thing. Go ahead and... Yes, Rob V. Our wide receiver position is... He's saying, is Olave much better than Pickens or Dotson? I don't think Dotson's going to be there in the 2nd round. I really don't. Olave definitely won't. Let's go ahead and let's give it another shot. We'll try and kick a 5th round pick from them. No. We can get a 6th rounder. It's their last pick, and we'll go ahead and take that because we do not have a 6th round pick. The New York Jets are executing a trade here. We have made a trade with the Philadelphia Eagles, and we are now going to also select Jermaine Johnson with the 10th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. The New York Jets are selecting Jermaine Johnson from FSU. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Oh. Drake London and Chris Olave both picked 2 spots before. Oh my God. This is like Tyreek Hill 2.0, right? Good Lord. Jameson Williams. I just saw it in the chat, and Vern, I think I'm with it, man. Do we go 3 wide receivers in this draft in a row? I am leaning Jameson Williams. I'm going to show you guys who's available, though, because otherwise it's kind of like you're not really a part of the show, and I don't want it to be that way. Tyler Linderbaum is there. Devin Lloyd is there. Jameson Williams is there. Nakobe Dean is there. Zion Johnson is there. Jahan Dotson is there. I think that's a little early for Jahan Dotson, guys. So right off the top of my head, Devin Lloyd, Jameson Williams, Nakobe Dean, and Tyler Linderbaum. Those feel like maybe the best values. Oh man, here comes the Linderbaum train. Here it comes. I have a feeling he's going to win the poll if I put it up. So let's go ahead and let's make a poll. And guys, thank you guys again for hanging out with me. If you are enjoying the show, go ahead and jet that like button up for me. It really means a lot. We've almost got 200 likes, so let's try to get to 200 before the end of the night. Let's do Linderbaum. Let's do Jameson Williams. And we're going to also throw Dean in there and Lloyd. I'm going to check the chat one more time before I hit the poll button to see if there's any other players that are being mentioned here. Burks is being mentioned. I don't think he's going to be a 1st round pick. Maybe a late 1st. All right, so let's do this. I'm going to take Devin Lloyd out of the equation. And I'm going to put Burks in there. So it's going to be between 2 wide receivers, Jameson Williams and Burks, and linebacker Nakobe Dean. And we're going to say center Tyler Linderbaum. And I'll throw Lloyd in there. I'll do a slash here. Okay, the poll is up. It is live, y'all. You've got 4 choices. You can pick your wide receiver here. You can get yourself a center. Jake Klein, I don't think we're going to trade back. The scenario here is we are trading up into the 1st round with one of our 2nd round picks. And I want to see what this scenario brings. No, I hope you understand, Rob V. I'm not necessarily saying he is gonna fall because of the combine, but I just personally think there are some better fits for what we're gonna do on offense. Right now, I prefer Jamison Williams over Burks, even with the injury. That's personally just how I feel, and I think that Joe Douglas would prefer him as well. Nick Reed, he's saying, let's go ahead and let's get Linderbaum. He's a good protector. Zach Wilson could certainly use it. Let's take a look at the poll. And the poll is suggesting... Oh, this is going to be a tight one. I can already tell. Jamison Williams is leading at 30%, but Burks is actually 28%. He's right behind him. Linderbaum's at 23%. There's 174 of you guys watching right now. If you're not hitting the, if you're not casting your vote, go ahead and do it. I'll give it another couple of seconds here, but right now Jamison Williams is the leading vote getter. I think that's the way to go, right? To go get your wide receiver, even if he's not healthy to start the year. You're talking about having missed out on Tyreek Hill, a guy that has explosive speed. I feel like you can say the same thing about Jamison Williams. Is he Tyreek Hill fast? Probably not. But I feel like Jamison Williams, Jermaine Johnson, and Sauce Gardner, we would all be doing cartwheels. Like, that's a hell of a draft. All right, let's ban that bot. Sorry about the bot in the chat. Yep, I got it. Don't you worry, Emanon. I'm on top of it. Yes, Chris Wilson. Even if he's not ready to play the season, I think that, like, again, like let's pretend that there was no injury. And I know that's kind of like ridiculous to say because there is obviously an injury, but I feel like if you're talking about who offers the best upside long term, to me it's Jamison Williams. I really do. Holy cow, there is a 1% discrepancy right now. 63 votes. Jamison Williams is 30%. Treylon Burks is 29. 29. I really don't want to take Burks ahead of Williams. I really think that's not the right move, but if you guys vote for it, I will make the pick. And then I'll blame you. I'll put the draft results on Twitter and I'll blame all of you for it. He's still the vote getter right now. Jamison Williams at 30%, Linderbaum's 22%, and Treylon Burks is 29%. I'm going to give it 20 seconds and I'm going to make him the pick. Vern, you said you'd be very upset. I don't know how, man. We're picking really good players here. I agree. This is a you're looking down the road pick. Jin Pak, he might. I'm not in favor of taking Linderbaum at 4 or 10, but this is a very intriguing spot because then what you could do is you could cut Connor McGovern and then you'd have some money in the summer to potentially add somebody that gets cut. So there's a lot of flexibility. If you draft Linderbaum in the middle of the first round, you could do some freaky deaky stuff in the offseason, man. You could get real crazy here. Michael Torres says Burks is a beast. Grant Root is being sarcastic, but also funny. He says we need 2 starters deep on the offensive line. I don't think that would be the case. I think that if they drafted Linderbaum, I think they would actually go ahead and probably move on from McGovern, save the money. And that's coming from somebody that does not really want to spend a first-round pick on offensive line. I've said that. I've made it clear. But there would be some intrigue with the possibility of being able to move on from McGovern. All right, let's take a look. It's Jamison Williams, guys. I got to make the pick. He's the vote getter, 30% to Burks' 27%. The pick with the 19th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the New York Jets are selecting wide receiver Jamison Williams from Alabama. And now we have got, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you our selections. I don't know, man. Call me crazy. First of all, this is realistic. This could happen. They could decide to trade back from 4 with Atlanta. They could decide to trade up into that first round. Jay Klein hates this draft. I love this draft. Exactly, Robbie Oak. I wanted to see the strategy. I feel like there's definitely some possibility here with the Jets. So before we move on, exactly, Frank Pagan. That's exactly how I feel about this draft. It is unbelievable good. We're getting really good players here and at really big positions of need. I would be super pumped. Just to keep this in mind, guys, Joe Douglas almost pulled off an ultra aggressive move trading for Tyreek Hill. He was this close. The Dolphins, he wanted to go play in Miami. He really wanted to go play in Miami. And we gave them technically more compensation than the Dolphins. And we were going to pay him a boatload of money. So Joe Douglas means business with the wide receiver position. So it could mean he's going to take one at 10, but it could also mean there's going to be an aggressive trade up, potentially. Yeah, I feel like, how can you be disappointed? Jameson Williams, to me, if he didn't get hurt, wide receiver 1 in the draft class, I don't think there's any doubt. But if you're not liking it, it's all good. It's just a mock. Hopefully on draft day it doesn't happen like this, and then you'll be happy. All right, let's go ahead and let's take a look at who went. Devin Lloyd went to the Patriots. I am much more comfortable with them taking him over them getting Jameson Williams. Treylon Burks went 22 to the Packers. Linderbaum went to the Cardinals. That's interesting. Nakobe Dean to the Titans. Boye Mafe went 28 to the Packers. Jahan Dotson went to the Dolphins. That's interesting. That would be a Kansas City Chiefs pick. Dax Hill to the Chiefs. The Lions take a quarterback. Lewis Cine to the Detroit Lions as well. Zion Johnson to the Giants. That's a hell of a draft pick right there. And then our lovely New York Jets are back on the clock with pick 38, and we still have pick 43 as well. This is why a trade up is so intriguing, guys, because you can still have a ton of draft capital. Making a move check another trade down. You guys are so friggin' greedy. Let's see who's on the board first. And then I will explore a trade. Okay, Kaiir Elam. We're not going to take another cornerback. We just took one. Daniel Falele is there. Jaquan Brisker right now. To me, that's the one, guys. Jaquan Brisker at this spot, I think, is worth it rather than a trade back. I would rather get Brisker here and not move back for more picks. We still have the second round pick. Yeah, I feel like it's definitely a kind of have to situation here. But let me look at some of the other positions. Christian Harris is available as well. Sorry, I'm screwing this up. Christian Harris is available. That's intriguing. I don't think we would double up on edge. There's some interior defensive linemen. Perion Winfrey's super intriguing, but we could get him at 43 if we want to get another pass rusher. Here's Dylan Parham, excuse me. Darian Kennard, this was who Jet Central talked about earlier on the show. So there you go. I'm personally leaning Christian Harris, Jaquan Brisker, and maybe an offensive lineman. And let me go to the chat here before we continue on. And if you guys have not hit the like button, go ahead and do it right now. I'm just about there at 200 likes. Would really like to get there, though. And guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the sit down with Jet Central. It sounded like he'd be willing to come back on, which I was not expecting him to say. which is super cool, man. I mean, he seems like a really laid back kind of guy. Seem to enjoy talking football. A lot of people are talking about Travis Jones here. Vervain, good to see you in the chat. It's been a while, my man. We do not have a 6th-round pick. We do. We traded back with Atlanta and got a 6th-round pick, I think. Show defensive tackle. Defensive tackle. Here you go. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a poll. Brisker, I feel like, should be the no-brainer pick here. I'm not even really sure if I need the poll here, guys, but I am going to be... I'm going to try to include you guys as much as I can with these drafts. Let's go ahead and let's do... Come on, my goodness, this is slow. All right, we're going to say Brisker. We're going to say Jones, the defensive tackle here. Safety. I'm going to also throw in Christian Harris. And let's throw an offensive lineman in the mix here. Let's throw in Daniel Falele. This could be a guy that is developmental. I really don't know if I love the idea of Falele. I don't know if he fits the scheme all that great. He's just very, very big. He's like 6'8", 350, 60 pounds, something like that. Let's go ahead and let's shoot. I'll put Kennard in there. This was a guy that Jets Central had mentioned. So we'll throw Darian Kennard in the mix here. He said in the 2nd round he should be a guy that we look at. So doggone it, we're going to include Jets Central in this mock draft. Go ahead. The poll is live right now. You have a choice. Jaquan Brisker, the safety from Penn State. Defensive tackle Travis Jones from UConn. Christian Harris, the linebacker from Alabama. And offensive lineman Darian Kennard from Kentucky. Vervain, you're super cool to say that. Really appreciate the comment, man. It does seem like it's growing, right? And it's not just that. Like, I'm actually getting some people who know what they're talking about on the show, right? Getting guys that are very, very knowledgeable and in tune with what's going on with the New York Jets. And I got to be honest with you, that's probably my favorite part of doing this is the collaboration part and getting you guys involved in the mix. I'll probably do a live stream on Sunday and get some calls, live call-ins from the viewers. So guys, I'm all about the engagement here. I really appreciate it, Vervain. Really means a lot. Jaquan Brisker is destroying this poll right now. He is the massive vote getter. So I'm going to end it. There's no reason to keep going here. He is massively ahead. So I don't know about you guys, but this is one of the best mock drafts that I have done, or that we have done, I should say, on a live stream. Just take a look at these picks. Think about how much better our defense would be with 2 secondary players and the edge threat. And then think about the weapon that Zach Wilson would have in Jamison Williams. My wife is going to call in on Sunday. Let's go. I need you to call in, babe. I want you to call in. I want to hear your hot takes. Definitely. Let's do and maybe you're talking about a video, or maybe you're talking about this live mock draft. Let's take a look at the top 50 right now, because Kev Chada asked for it, and by golly, I'm going to give it to him. Here's the top 50 or so players. We got Logan Hall. Breece Hall, the running back, is available. And we are on the clock right now with pick 43. Christian Harris. Travis Jones. Christian Watson. Chad Muma. I think you take Christian Harris ahead of Chad Muma, right? Jamie is saying, or Jaime, if I'm saying it incorrectly, I do apologize. He's saying go ahead and take Travis Jones. Man, we'd be beefy up front. We'd be fast as hell in the secondary. Eminon agrees with me. Take Harris. I would love to get a fast coverage linebacker to play alongside CJ Mosley and the like. I like Muma too. I don't know if I'm taking him ahead of Harris at 43. Jaleel is saying, let's go get another wide receiver. I don't think they would double up. I really don't. But maybe they would, though, because Jameson Williams is not going to be ready for the season to begin. I think he could be ready, though. I think there's an outside chance that Jameson Williams will be ready to go by week 1. I don't think that's crazy to say. Yes, I thought that Chad Muma looked very good at the Senior Bowl. And in the game itself, he played very nicely, I thought, as well. Interesting. You think that Muma is better than Harris. Okay, fair enough. So I'll have to include him in this poll then, I guess. I think so, right? I think that, from my research and from what I've been watching, Harris is one of the better coverage linebackers. He can turn and run with pretty much anybody. He's a little bit shorter. He's only like 6 foot and change. But he could cover any running back, with good coaching. I think he could cover anybody. He could cover Kamara, CMC. Chris Wilson is saying Harris will probably not be available. You never know. Draft day is wild. I agree. I think he's a little bit better overall. I know a lot of people really have a crush on Muma. I am one of them, but I would still take Harris above him. Same thing. Lots of good options. Travis Jones is a freaking athlete. He will make Quinnen's life so much easier. And I still keep saying it over and over again. I might need to make a video on this, is that I really do think the Jets are going to emphasize the defensive line in this draft. I know a lot of people really want the offensive line to be addressed, but I think the defensive line is a big time area where the Jets are really trying to get stronger, maybe even more so than the linebacking core. Let's go ahead and make a poll. We're going to say defensive tackle Jones. We're going to say Harris, the linebacker. I'll throw Christian Watson in the mix. I don't think we should double up on wide receiver, but I did see him mentioned in the chat. And I keep seeing the name Muma. So, you know what? I'll throw Muma in there. Linebacker Muma is available. Here you go. Here's your poll. And you guys are doing a great job throwing comments in the chat. James Sandzone, he says that PFF actually has Muma above Harris. And I don't think that's wild, actually. I just personally would prefer Harris. I think he's got maybe a little bit more upside in this scheme as a chase and, a read and react chase type of linebacker. I think he would be perfect for this scheme. Joe Lass says, no, we need to get another pass rusher. That could be true, but we also did lose our defensive tackle in Fadakasi. They may look to add another dude. All right, let's take a look at the poll. Oh, it's going to be a close one again. It's going to be a close one. Muma and linebacker Harris are tied neck and neck. It was 29% just a few seconds ago. Frank Pagan, this is an interesting question. Or excuse me, a great comment, I should say. Who would be able to block Travis Jones, Quinnen Williams, Jonathan Franklin Myers, Carl Lawson, Jermaine Johnson, and the like? There are other dudes that we've got on this defense. I know people are maybe not talking about him still, but the kid that we had, Bryce Huff, there's still upside with him. Jacob Martin from the Houston Texans. That is not a throwaway signing by the New York Jets. I think they really like him. Not as an every down player, but as a rotational edge rusher. I think they like him. It's not a sexy pick, but it is a needed pick. I agree. And if we don't take him here, I think we can still get a defensive tackle. I don't think that's one of those positions where it's like you can't get one unless you take one in the second round. Muma. He is winning right now, guys. At number 43, he is the top vote getter right now. 43 is looking like Muma. 29% to linebacker Harris's 26%. A run stuffer is needed. Christopher Allen, late rounds. Would be good to get a second receiver. I hear you. And you're not wrong because we do need some depth at the position. But with Jamison Williams, with Berrios, with Elijah Moore, with Corey Davis, I think we could cause some damage. Denzel Mims is certainly still in the mix. I think it's interesting. I don't think that would happen in the NFL draft. Some people are maybe laughing a little bit at this pick. You have veto vote. Pick Jones. Jones is tied for the least votes right now. George Pickens is still available. Let's take a look at the big board here. Wide receiver. No, he is not available. Sky Moore is. Christian Watson is. John Mechie is. Tons of defensive linemen. I think we could get one. Do we have 69 still? I don't think we do. We do not have pick 69. So this is going to be, there's going to be a little bit of a fall off here. We're going to have this pick and then we're going to not have a pick for a while. Julian Milan, he's saying he can run and tackle. The votes are in, man. And I'm going to stay true to the votes. 41% of you guys have voted for Muma. Or I'm sorry, 32% of you voted for Muma and only 27% voted for Harris. Wild shit happens on draft night, guys. For people that are saying that this is ridiculous, Harris should be the pick. You've watched the NFL draft before. This happens every year. Guys go earlier than you expect. Guys fall later than you would expect. We're going to go ahead and we're going to take Chad Muma. He is a New York Jet at pick number 43. Chad Muma, come home to the Jets, baby. And here are our picks. Joe Lass, I agree with you completely. I would have been taking Harris there. This draft is really, really good still, though. Do a little do a little mental Jedi trick to yourself. Just convince yourself that we took Harris at 43. Stephen Engel, he says, I remember the last couple of years, people were getting picked in the second round that had fourth round grades on them. Yeah. And also, guys that had high grades fell. I remember the linebacker from Alabama. I can't remember his name right now, but he went undrafted. And a lot of people thought he would be taken in the mid rounds. So it just happens. It happens every single draft. All right. 111. And I assume we're back on the clock. So let's take a look here. After we picked, we saw a run of defensive linemen a little bit there. Christian Harris went 51. Darian Kennard went to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Perion Winfrey went to the Bucks. That would be nasty for them. Cameron Thomas, one of my favorites. He went to the Atlanta Falcons. Kobe Bryant to the Falcons. Sam Williams, we talked about him on the show tonight. He went 88 to the Cowboys. Troy Anderson's another linebacker that would be really interesting. At 97, he went to the Lions. Trey McBride, he fell all the way to the 4th round. That's pretty interesting. TC, he's saying, let's go ahead and get ourselves a power back. Let's take a look at what picks we still have left. And we are on the clock, 111. We do have a super chat, and I will get to that in just a moment. Mike Jones, don't you worry. Let's go ahead and take a look at the big board here for 111. Jojo Deman, or Damon, Brian Asamoah. These are all linebackers. Let me get to the big board. Sorry. Oh, Isaiah Spiller. Jeremy Ruckert. There are some really good freaking players here, guys. Oh, I got to be honest with you. It should be Spiller or it should be Ruckert here. Go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and I'll go through a couple of these positions here. Here are the running backs. Here are the wide receivers. Wide receivers dried up pretty badly. So I'm glad we got our guy Jamison Williams. Jalen Weidemeyer. I'm hearing reporting right now that he might go undrafted. Like he may fall dramatically. Sean McAteer, really appreciate it. No worries. There's never going to be a mock draft that everybody is happy with. That's just the fact of the matter. Frank, you're asking me where did Travis Jones go? Let's find out. I have to jump back quite a bit here. Travis Jones. He went 57 overall to the Buffalo Bills. So we definitely missed out on that opportunity. Let's get back to 111. Where is Ruckert? He is right on your screen. He's right here. So I am in favor of taking Isaiah Spiller. I'm also in favor of taking Ruckert. Mike Jones, his super chat from just a minute ago. Thank you, Mike Jones, for the super chat. He says Muma is not better than Quay Walker or Tyndall. Interesting. I like Muma. I like Quay Walker too, actually, quite a bit. Tyndall is the guy I need to learn a little bit more about, but I actually have watched Quay Walker and I've read about him a lot. Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with that. If you feel strongly about that, I have no problem with that. Joe Sanzone, what running backs are available? Isaiah Spiller, James Cook, Kyron Williams, a guy that James really likes, Brian Johnson, Damian Pierce. The only running back I really would consider here would be Isaiah Spiller. He would be that bruiser, physical running back that can also do a little bit of everything. That would really, really complement Michael Carter a lot. Isaiah Likely as well. we got Joe Pekulik. He gave a super chat here. Thank you, Joe. He says Dulcich all day long. Dulcich is another name, man. Listen, people think he's going to go earlier than we expect. And he could even be the number one tight end off the board. I've even seen people suggest that. Daniel Jeremiah being one of them. Scuttlebutt51, he says James Cook. I don't know if we need a receiving back. He's not really a guy that's going to get that tough yardage. And I think that's more or less what we're looking for in our running back. But there is some intrigue there with James Cook, though. He certainly is going to be a very versatile piece. And he ran really good at the combine. I wasn't sure if he was going to run a good 40. And he ran pretty nicely. I'm not taking Pierce Strong. Justice for George. I think he's almost 25 years old. I get it. You like the player and you watched him at North Dakota State, and I respect it. But I am not drafting a running back that is almost 25 years old. He would go undrafted if I were in charge. No disrespect to you, of course, but I am not. I'm not touching a 25-year-old rookie running back. That's just not what I'm doing. All right, let's go ahead and make a poll. We'll do tight end Dulcich. And we're going to do tight end Likely. We'll also do tight end Ruckert. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to say running back Spiller. If you yell at me enough, maybe I'll change my mind and give you a different running back option. I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not. I do actually think getting backups would be a good idea here in the offensive line. Let's take a look at the O-line. I don't think we... Oh, Kellen Diesch is there. Kellen Diesch. He was one of the guys I took in my mock draft. Great fit for the scheme that we're running. Daniel Jeremiah talked about how teams that run this scheme, the Shanahan scheme, he's going to be a guy that's very, very intriguing to them. He's also a little bit older. Luke Fortner, this would be a good backup center. He could learn and potentially play in year 2. Mike Jerome, I really like Rashad White as well from Arizona State. I would take Spiller over Rashad, though. Jerome Ford, I would have to imagine he's available. Let's take a look. Yep, he's there. And that's the thing with running backs. There's so many that you can go ahead and take. I think I showed you defensive tackles, did I not? They dried up, though. Here are your defensive tackles. Oh, Matthew Butler was another guy I had in a mock draft as well. Another interior defensive lineman with some versatility. Donovan West is another name that I actually have on my list here for tonight for a mid-round offensive lineman. He's 6'4", 300 pounds. He's only 20 years old, which is a really good plus for him. Good at getting to the second level. Ideal center guard for this scheme fit. He plays with a wide base. Some things that he needs to work on: pass pro technique, and probably needs to work on keeping his feet moving when engaged in his blocks. The poll is up, and right now Ruckert and Spiller are way ahead. Grant Rude with some strong words. He says there are 1 million running backs, 1 million tight ends. He says defensive tackle should be addressed. Wouldn't hate double dipping at defensive end either. PG Hudson Jr., he says, what about Cade Mays? I actually have heard about Cade Mays, the safety from Tennessee. Somebody mentioned him in the last stream, Mr. PG. Let's take a look. We already drafted a safety, so I don't know if we would take another one. And I do not see Cade available, so he must have already gone. Oh, I love Ruckert, man. I think he's got a lot of potential, especially in this scheme. They ask the tight ends to be able to block. I think he'd be a great fit. And it's still a tie, so I might get to pick. Oh, Cade Mays is a tackle? Jeez. I thought I had heard that he was a safety. Let me go ahead and look him up. Cade Mays. I am not seeing Cade Mays. He may have gone already, guys. There he is. He's listed as an interior offensive lineman from Tennessee. I knew he was from Tennessee. I just screwed up the position. Joe Pekulik, he says, we do need that athletic tight end. I hear you, and that's why as a third tight end, getting that athletic freak would be great. We can take a defensive tackle. I'm getting yelled at. This is great. Let's take a defensive tackle. I'm cool with it. I can deal with it. You guys have yelled at me enough. I'm convinced. I will give you a choice, and you got to put it in the comments. Haskell Garrett, Matthew Butler, the like. Let's get a defensive lineman. You pick Ruckert, capiche? I wanted Ruckert, but I've been yelled at too much. Julian Milan, defensive tackle is a huge need. No worries. Sorry about that. That's my bad. Haskell Garrett is being recommended by Rob V here. Dulcich and Ruck will be good. Jeremiah has Dulcich as tight end 1. Yep. Offensive guard. I wouldn't mind getting an offensive lineman either. And I think that these are the rounds to look. Yeah, Travis Jones would have been okay. We're okay. I think we're doing all right. We've still got a lot of really good football players on this team. Somebody's telling me to take the defensive tackle from Wisconsin. I don't see his face anywhere. His name, I mean. Yeah, and Grant Rude's not really liking what he sees. Garrett for sure. A lot of people are agreeing. Travis Jones should have been the pick earlier. Ridgeway is a monster as well. Let's go ahead. Let's take a defensive tackle. We're going to take Haskell Garrett here. He's the best defensive tackle available. We'll make him a New York Jet. Okay. Vervain is saying Butler is the better fit. I did make Butler a New York Jet in one of my mock drafts. I kind of agree. Oh, William hates it. This mock draft is going sideways. You guys have got me going in a million directions. Let's see here. Let's take a look at the offensive line. Luke Fortner, I still like that. Donovan West, I still like that. This mock is crazy town. Yeah. Let's do this. Let's do this. I'll get this mock draft going a little bit faster here. Ruckert is the leading vote getter. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna make him a New York Jet. I set the poll. I set up the poll. We're gonna go ahead and we'll stick with that. I know you're gonna be mad at me about the defensive tackle spot, but we got to keep this train moving. And defensive tackle, you know, maybe the value is not really there. There's a couple of guys though, and we do have another 4th round pick. So I'm gonna stick to the poll. We'll take Jeremy Ruckert here. And I think, again, he would be a great fit for what we're trying to do offensively. None of the defensive tackles got selected, so we are in good shape. And so we'll create another poll. And we will have, you know, some players in here that you guys would like. We already got a linebacker. I don't think we can double dip at that position. Let me show you who we have taken so far. Cornerback Ahmad Gardner, Jermaine Johnson, the edge from Florida State, Jamison Williams, wide receiver, Jaquan Brisker, Chad Muma, linebacker, and Jeremy Ruckert, tight end. This is a really good mock draft, if you ask me. I like it. I think we've gotten some really good players. Maybe you don't agree with all of them, but I think, again, considering all of the holes that we have, these are some really good football players, and we would be better after this draft. And I would feel really, really good about getting Jamison Williams. Let's see. Sean McAteer, running back now, please. CJ Spiller did get taken, so let me show you that. Isaiah Spiller went to the Washington Commanders. And Tyler Algier went to the Denver Broncos, which I don't think I see that happening. I don't know. So I think that Jaquan Brisker might be able to play that free safety spot, but I don't know. They kind of move their safeties all around. And do keep in mind, Jordan Whitehead is only on the Jets for 2 years. So I don't think it's a terrible idea to have Brisker come in and kind of rotate. And you can have 3 safeties get on the field at the same time. There's nothing that says that you can't put all 3 on the field. So if you like Joyner at free safety, you could also have Brisker, and you could also have Jordan Whitehead on the field at the same time. One of them could come down and play a nickel linebacker or a dime linebacker spot. All right, let's take a look here. We already took a tight end. And yes, lots of tight ends. Yep. For sure. I mean, look at the list. There's so many names there. So I took a tight end in round 5 with the last pick in my last mock draft, and I really feel like that might be the best bet. Let's take a look at the defensive line. It's the same names, guys. So throw in defensive linemen and offensive linemen that you want to see us take here. I'm going to go ahead and say that we should probably hold off on the running back until round 5 at pick 146. And we can take our offensive lineman or defensive lineman here. I think that's the way to go. We do need a running back, but I think, again, let's take a look at that position as well. James Cook is still there. Brian Robinson, Damian Pierce, Rashad White, Hassan Haskins, Jerome Ford. It's kind of like the tight end position. Let's not reach for a running back when we could potentially get one in the 5th round. Here's the full draft board. And I kind of agree. I would like to get an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman here. Isaiah Likely, James Cook, Greg Dulcich is still sitting there, Damian Pierce. I really like the idea of getting another interior offensive lineman, Luke Fortner, from Kentucky. That's an interesting name. No, I don't think we're going to go kicker, PG. They gave Pinheiro a $2 million contract. I think he's going to be the kicker. They will put competition in camp, but we're not going to draft one in this mock draft. Frank Fortner could play center. He could be a future center on this football team. Scuttlebutt says, let's get a big fatty on defense. I kind of agree. Defensive lineman or offensive lineman here. I'm not going to go running back. I'm going to be a little bit bossy lady here. All right. We got to go a little faster here too because I'm getting I'm getting exhausted. So defensive line wise, I'm feeling like Matthew Butler makes a lot of sense. John Ridgway makes a lot of sense. And then interior offensive lineman, I think Kellen Diesch would be a great fit. We could use the offensive tackle. We could use Fortner, the interior lineman, Donovan West as well. Right now, I'm leaning towards the offensive line. There's a couple of names here that I really like. Kurt Hines agrees with me. Get a center. What did you do with the other pick? We took a tight end. I think Diesch makes a ton of sense. And Daniel Jeremiah seems to think that he will be coveted by these Shanahan offensive teams. Is Cole Strange available? I don't think that he is. No, Cole Strange is not available. That would have been a great pick here. Scuttlebutt says for the versatility, you get Fortner. Where did Cole Strange go? We can take a peek at that, and then I'm going to draft a player. I'm just going to make the pick myself. Where did Mr. the Chattanooga prospect go? I don't even see his name. I don't see his name anywhere, but he wasn't in the available player list either, though. Offensive line. I don't see Cole Strange anywhere. So he was definitely taken. I don't know where, though. He would be a hell of a pick, though, in this 4th round. Cole Strange went 89 to the Bills. There you go. I missed it. Arizona tackle makes the most sense here. Would love Asamoah too, though. Tackle depth is more important in my opinion. Let's go ahead. Let's do it. You and me, Grant Reed. We're going to make this mock together. Kellen Diesch. He's going to be an offensive tackle that we can play as a swing tackle. He can also be a backup and a future potential starter. That's the idea here. Maybe he could take over for George Fant. Kellen Diesch, welcome to the New York Jets. I like that pick. I like it a lot, actually. Good value in the 4th round, a good scheme fit, and fills a pretty big need for us as well. Defensive tackle is a little bit of a problem. And, there's Ridgway right before our pick. That would have made things really easy. Here are some defensive tackles, guys, and I'll show you the big board as well. I think Cole Strange can play guard as well. I don't know if he actually is going to be a center in the NFL. He's 6'5". That might be a little tall for a center. Wow, look at the tight ends, guys. Cade Otton, Charlie Kohler, Jelani Woods, Jake Ferguson, Greg Dulcich. Definitely. D-line will be one of the Achilles heels of this draft. Cam Jurgens would be interesting too. Let's take a look. Maybe we go ahead and double up on an offensive line here. Cade Mays is available. We heard that name earlier. Cameron Jurgens is there. If the value is not really there for defensive line, I don't really have a problem with that. We have 3 picks left. We have a 5th. We have 2 5ths and a 6th. We need a running back. I got you. I hear you, bro. But here's the problem. Look at this list. There's still a million guys. Yeah, I hear that. Upside is there with Dulcich. Bruckert, maybe not as much, but I don't know. I don't know if Dulcich really makes, It's kind of like what you said with Likely. I don't know if he really is a scheme fit. Not going to really be able to block. I don't think that's really in Dulcich's, I don't know if that's in his repertoire of abilities. I kind of like the idea of going offensive line, getting another another developmental offensive lineman to be a backup. You guys want Brian Robinson. I feel like we can get him in the 5th or the 6th. We still got 2 5ths and a 6th rounder. I feel like getting the running back later is better. We've seen that time and time again in the NFL draft. Dameon Pierce, I like better than Robinson, just barely, a little bit. And I do hear you. Yes, we do have the blocking all-around tight ends in Conklin and in Uzama. Yeah, I know. Listen, every mock draft we do, I feel like there's always that one position that's like, if we had just done this. Let's go ahead and I got to speed this up because, guys, it's 10:30 and I do have to get my butt to work. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to make a couple of picks here. With the 146 in the 5th round, I'm going to take an interior offensive lineman. I'm going to take Cameron Jurgens. I think getting yet another prospect on the offensive line is important. And we will take a defensive tackle next. And there's still a few names. Christopher Hinton. I don't know a whole lot about. Oh, and there he goes. So here you go. Defensive tackle. PV's available. I'll be honest with you. I don't know these dudes. Yes, right? Yeah, it happens. Let's see if Pierce is available. I might be convinced. Okay, Dameon Pierce is there. And that dude is a beast. Will be perfect complement to Michael Carter. Take a look at the edges. The big board. Greg Dulcich is still freaking available. That's crazy. We're not going to take another offensive lineman. Yeah, I mean, I feel like right now we're kind of stuck in a position where we should probably take either edge or defensive line. And running back can be the last pick. Bodega Wi-Fi says take Cook. Scuttlebutt says PV. We've got 2 picks left. We've got the 5th rounder here, 163, and a 6th rounder right after that. Yeah, Otten and Kohler. We're going to take your running back. Let's take Dameon Pierce here. I think that's a good value pick here. PG, I know you want your edge. But we do have Jermaine Johnson. We do have Jacob Martin, Carl Lawson, Bryce Huff. There's a bunch of names in here. Yeah, that's another thing too. You could wait on D tackle because it's not really valuable right now. The edge spot, Isaiah Thomas. How do we feel about that? Let's do it. Isaiah Thomas. We get another edge. And then we can go get our running back. And there's going to be a good one. Oh, there go 2. Dameon Pierce and Brian Robinson go off the board. But again, I'm feeling pretty good. Rashad White's still there. If he's there when we get on the clock, I'm making him the New York Jet. And I'm going to wrap this up. If you are still watching this stream and you're hanging out with me for the 2.5 hours that I've been live, I have to thank you. It has been an absolute blast. Jets Central came on. We're just under 200 likes. If you have not hit like yet, we're 3 likes away from 200. Would really appreciate that. Would be the first live stream to hit 200 likes while on the air. I feel like Hassan Haskins or Jerome Ford. I'm going to let you guys decide here. I'll do one more poll, and then I'm going to say good night to you all. Let's do Ford or Haskins. And as always, guys, there's going to be content coming on this weekend. I'm going to try to stream this Sunday and get some call-ins. I think that would be a lot of fun to start to incorporate that every week. The poll is up. Ford is available. Haskins is available. I know, man. Listen, anybody who's sitting here hanging out with me, any Jets content creators, you guys are all just as crazy as me. Hey, 200 likes. Let's go. Thank you guys so much. That's awesome. Michael Elias, there would be nothing, I would love nothing more than to do this literally all day and all night. Michael N says, awesome getting Jets Central on the stream. Going to be good a couple of weeks. Good luck with the channel. Yeah, dude, we got so many guys. I'm working on getting Richie from Jets Media. Still trying to sort that out with him. Jets Talk 24/7. Ryan, he's scheduled as well. And these are all going to be guys that come on the show before the NFL draft. Absolutely appreciate it, guys. Thank you very, very much for hanging out with me. Really tons of fun. And I will show you our board. Absolutely. Let's go ahead and let's make Jerome Ford a New York Jet. That's a hell of a draft pick there. Getting another running back to pair up with Michael Carter. Kev Chata has a suggestion. He says, I propose next time you only trade down from 4. That's the ideal mock. I will write that down. I'll give it a shot, and we will do that. So the NFL draft is over. PG, thank you for sticking around and hanging out with us. If we didn't take every player that you wanted, I do apologize. I try my best to get you guys involved. Let's trade down from 4. That's what Kev Chata says. And I will special note that. All right, we are almost on the clock. Oh my gosh. I don't want to wish injury on anybody, but maybe he could just hurt his hammy. Maybe he could bust his hammy real good. Oh my gosh. Yeah, dude, I'm really looking forward to it. They are all like, here's the thing. I keep saying this, and again, it sounds like I'm kissing everybody's butts. These people are like actually nice people. They're really good dudes. So there you have it. I'll recap it. We traded back from number 4 with the Atlanta Falcons to their 8th overall. We picked up a 43rd overall pick as well. We then traded up into the first round from pick 35. We used 69 as well. We packaged it up to get to pick 19. And here are the results. And again, feel really good about the mock draft. I get that we didn't take a defensive tackle, but secondary help was outstanding. The edge has been addressed. A top-notch speed wide receiver, linebacker, tight end. Offensive line depth was definitely addressed. And we even got a compliment to Michael Carter. I'm going to say go Jets to you all. I'm going to say thank you guys so very much. Yes. James is going to be very happy to be back on the show. I know that this week he did not want to miss this week, so he'll be very excited to be back on the channel. Hope you all have a good night. Have a great time. Have a great weekend. If I don't talk to you, I'll be posting all on social media. I'll be posting polls on the community tab, so check that out. Videos will be uploaded as well. Hope you all have a great night. Go Jets, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.